All right, so we're back with part 3 of the NetHack overexplained series. And before we move on, you might notice this is not the same character as I stopped with last time, because we got kind of lucky and unlucky. I sort of wanted to go back and go over a couple of things that might happen in your game that didn't happen in our primary game before we go back to that character and continue with them. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Minetown. We got Orc Town, which is a variant of Minetown that's considered unlucky because you don't have the guaranteed shops and aligned priest and temple that you get in Minetown. So this is a standard layout of Minetown, which I've already kind of explored. And I wanted to talk about why is it that we go to Minetown? Like, what is the purpose of going to Minetown? And there are a few reasons why you want to go to Minetown, and I'll talk about them now before we move on. So first, there are a bunch of guaranteed shops here. Now, the only one that you'll get in every variant of Minetown except for Orc Town is the lighting shop. And let me talk about that first because it's very important. The lighting shop is going to have a bunch of candles and lamps. Let's go find it. So it's over here. Get a hill arc here. I'll just kill it quick. And so this shop right here, well, if you enter it, you'll see it says Izshak's Lighting Store. Now, this is guaranteed in every variant of Minetown except for Orktown. And it's going to have, so we have a bunch of candles here. Candles are important later in the game, but they're not necessary to bring with you. There's another guaranteed source of candles we can take advantage of later in the game. But what is important here is that there are going to be lamps. And a lamp could be one of two things. It's either an oil lamp or a magic lamp. And so we're going to use price IDing to figure this out. So a magic lamp is going to have a base price of 50. Let me actually double check that. Yeah, base price of 50. And an oil lamp is going to have a base price of 10. So that's how you're going to tell the difference. If we just take a look at our chart here in the price ID tab, base price of 50 at our current charisma of 8. Yeah, change this to 8. 1 second. Is going to be either 67 gold or 89 gold. So if you see that kind of price in the lighting shop, then you know it's a magic lamp. In this case, the lamp is only 13. So we know that the base price is much lower, and it's actually going to be an oil lamp. So magic lamps are very, very important because they're permanent light source, but more than that, they're a source of early wishes. You can rub a magic lamp and potentially get a wish. Now, don't pick up a magic lamp and rub it right away because there's a different chance that you're going to get a wish based on whether it's blessed, uncursed, or cursed. So that's here in this chart. If the lamp is blessed, there's an 80% chance you're going to get a wish rubbing the lamp. If it is uncursed, there's only a 20% chance. And if it's cursed, there's only a 5% chance that you get a wish. So you're going to want to take the lamp and BUC test it, which is blessed, uncursed, cursed, test it. And you're going to want to bless it if you can. So in this case, what I would probably do is just name this lamp. So we could capital C, call F, something on the floor, period, and we're just call this an oil lamp. But if it was a magic lamp, you'd bring it over to the altar, and you could, and there's a guaranteed altar in every variant of Minetown, actually including Orktown. So you bring it over here into into this temple here. We could drop the oil lamp or the magic lamp onto the altar and see if it is blessed. If not, if it isn't blessed, you're going to want to take it and take it with you, and then bring it to when you get holy water. You can dip it in holy water. So that was our next task with our primary character, is to get holy water. When we return to that, we'll talk about that more. So I'll just point out a few other shops here. There's also a hardware store here. So hardware store is another source of potentially magic lamps. In this case, we have a brass lantern. Brass lanterns are electric lamps, and they can never be magic lamps. But it's another light source. There's a key here. Keys are very useful. I think in our primary game, we don't yet have any kind of unlocking tool. So I would definitely pick up a key if I found one in the hardware store. And then these are figurines. Figurines are less useful. Applying a figurine creates a creature of the type that they represent. If it's a blessed figurine, you're going to get a pet of that type, which can be very powerful. But in most cases, you're not going to find a blessed figurine. So that is, let me see. The other reason to go to Minetown is if you don't have a general store. So we talked about price IDing and sort of the minimal amount of price IDing you want to do, which is trying to find out what scrolls or identify. So the least expensive scroll is going to be identify, and then also the most expensive scrolls, base cost 300 scrolls, are very powerful, and you probably want to know what those are as well. So with the general store here, if you haven't found a general store already, you can actually drop your scrolls and figure out what they are. So in this case, they're offering 23 gold. You can take a look at our price ID chart here. So you know that that's a base price of 60. You could potentially call it that, which is, in this case, there's only one scroll that has a base cost of 60. It's enchant weapon. But let me see, we drop Q is 38. So that's going to be base cost 100. There's a million things it could be. And the other one is 8. So there we go. Sell cost of 8. Look at the item type. It's got to be identify. So this scroll of this type in this game is called XIX Exaka, whatever, however you pronounce this. We're not going to sell it. We're going to call it capital C F period, and we're going to call it identify. So that's a really important thing to know, because we can actually take this identify scroll and other identify scrolls we find and use them to identify all of our other equipment. All right, so we have a general store for doing some basic price IDing. We have both a hardware store and a lighting store, which might have a magic lamp for an early source of wishes, potentially. And we have a guaranteed temple, which might be aligned. In this case, you can tell it's aligned based on the message you get as you enter. So in this case, we got a forbidden feeling. And if you look at the altar, you can do so by stepping on top of it and hitting the colon key. You can see this is actually a chaotic altar. So this is a cross-aligned altar. But if it was an aligned altar, then you can use it to create holy water. So those are the primary reasons why you want to make your way to Minetown early. Early wishes, general store, and potentially an aligned altar. And I think those are really the primary reasons I want to go over right now. There are some other things we could talk about in terms of donating to the priest, but usually a Valkyrie is not going to have enough money by the time they get here to get anything worthwhile. And welcome, Zen Burnt Burning. I missed your message. Welcome back. You had a good run, and tragically last night. That happens quite a bit. So The other thing I wanted to talk about, and we can actually use these fountains here to talk about it potentially. I want to talk about the dangers of dipping, because I think we dipped our sword like once and ended up getting Excalibur. So we're not going to dip our sword here. One thing to point out is if you destroy these fountains, then all of these guards are going to get angry at you. So in fact, let's just show you here. We have watchmen. So there's going to be several peaceful watchmen in Minetown. They're basically there protecting the fountains and the doors. Also, you don't want to attack peaceful creatures inside of the watchmen. All those things will anger the watchmen. Zen Running says, before I finished the Gnomish Mines, I had an Amulet Life-Saving, Ring of Slow Digestion, Cleaver, and your pet was polymorphed into a white dragon. It sounds like a really good start. Very strong. Makes it all that much more tragic to lose that run. So back to fountains here. You do not want to dip for Excalibur in Minetown, because if your sword gets turned into Excalibur, the fountain is guaranteed to be destroyed, in which case the watchman will get angry. So I wouldn't recommend quaffing fountains normally, but just because we want to potentially show off some of the dangers of fountain dipping, I'm going to quaff, because we'll actually get a message quaffing from the fountains in Minetown that the flow of the fountain weakens, in which case we can stop quaffing from the fountain, because we know that the next quaff will actually destroy the fountain. So we're going to go ahead and drink out of the fountain. Again, this is not a strategy I recommend. You know, you can play around with quaffing fountains, but it's not considered a strong strategy or a good strategy for survival. But I just want to show you some of the bad effects, and we get one right away. So here, you want to unleash a water demon. So this is one of the bad effects that you get from quaffing or dipping, which is really what you're going to be doing. Dipping for Excalibur is you'll get a water demon released. And actually, nope, it's not a bad thing. In this particular case, we got very lucky, and it granted us a wish. So actually wasn't going to talk about this, because it's actually a very small chance that you get a wish from quaffing from a fountain, but we got extremely lucky here. And this, I think I did talk about this in the last episode, which is you want to dip for Excalibur in the earliest dungeon level possible, because the earlier the dungeon level, the higher the chances that you will get a wish from a water demon if you release them. So it's linearly inverse. There's an inverse linear ratio between the dungeon level and the chance you're going to get a wish from a water demon. But why don't I go ahead and talk about wishes here while we have one to talk about. So let's say you did get a magic lamp in either the hardware store or the general store or the lighting store, and you took it over to the altar and it was blessed. Well, then you can rub it with the rub extended command. So that's, the pound sign followed by RUB rub. You can rub that lamp, and then you do it repeatedly, and then you will have an 80% chance from a blessed magic lamp of getting a wish. So let's say if you got a wish that way. So what is the thing to wish for? You may wish for an object, and then it just gives you an empty, like a parser here. You could type anything you want here, and it will do its best job to figure out what it is you're asking for, given all the different items in the game. So you could wish for like a mango, or wish for a food ration. These are things you shouldn't wish for. A tripe ration, you could wish for any of those things. So what is the best wish to wish for? And generally people say there are two options. One is silver dragon scale mail, and the other is gray dragon scale mail. And welcome, Grinning Gecko. Welcome. And so I've listened to both sides, and for a Valkyrie, my suggestion is that you wish for gray dragon scale mail. So it's going to give you, dragon scale mail is lightweight. It gives you a lot of AC. And Gray Dragon Scale Mail gives you magic resistance, and Silver Dragon Scale Mail gives you reflection. Both of these things are very important. In fact, pretty much required by the end of the game. But so why do you want to wish for, in my opinion, Gray Dragon over Silver Dragon Scale Mail? And the reason for that is there are two places where you could potentially get reflection. One of which we talked about already. So the Enda Sokoban, the prize is one of two things, either a bag of holding or an amulet of reflection. So that's a 50-50, well, roughly 50-50, depending on which version of Sokoban you get, chance of getting an amulet of reflection from Sokoban. And secondly, there's going to be a chance to get a shield of reflection later on in another special level. We'll talk about that when we get there. So because there are these two possible locations where you might get reflection anyway, my suggestion is you go ahead and get Gray Dragon Scale Mail. And so you can wish for +2 or +3. I usually wish for +2. You're less likely, so there's sort of like a risk-reward mechanic here. The higher enchantment you wish for, the more likely it is you're going to get 0, get a +0 armor. +2 is a decent ratio between a likelihood to get to +2 and also the enchantment's reasonable. Optimal wish for a barbarian. If you're going to stick with Cleaver, Zemmerny asks, what is the optimal wish for a barbarian? If you're going to stick with Cleaver, which is your first guaranteed sacrifice weapon, I don't think we talked about sacrifice weapons because in this series we're doing a Valkyrie where you have an artifact weapon that you can get without sacrificing it on altars. But in the case of a barbarian, you're likely to get Cleaver if you find an altar and you sacrifice things on it. Cleaver is a two-handed weapon, and for that reason, if you're going to stick with Cleaver and not try and get a different weapon, I would actually suggest Silver Dragon Scale Mail. The reason for that is that you need both hands. There are three sources of reflection we talked about. There is Silver Dragon Scale Mail, there's an Amulet of Reflection, and then there's a Shield of Reflection. If you're using a two-handed weapon, then you can't use the Shield of Reflection, so that gets removed from the three options. And that leaves you with an Amulet of Reflection or Silver Dragon Scale Mail. You can use your Amulet slot for reflection early on in the game, but later in the game there's going to be an item, an Amulet of Life Saving. Zen Burning actually had one of these in their game yesterday, which is a very, very powerful item. I think it's almost crucial for ascending. So I would say Silver Dragon Scale Mail if you're committed to sticking with a two-handed weapon like Cleaver, so you can keep that amulet slot free for life saving later on. But for a Valkyrie, and that's what we're talking about in this particular playthrough, we want to wish for +2. Blessed, might as well wish for Blessed. Gray Dragon. You actually could wish for Greased as well. Greased armor is harder. It's hard for creatures that grab you to hang on. Actually, they're guaranteed to not hold on to you the first time that they grab you. The grease might wear off every time that a creature grabs you, but you might as well wish for a greased item here. +2, Blessed, Greased, Gray Dragon Scale Mail, and GREY or AY doesn't matter. If you don't specify blessed, can items from wishes be cursed? If you don't specify in 3.6, it's just going to be uncursed. You have to specify either blessed or cursed to get something. Actually, I'm not 100% sure about that. The only thing which I wish for without specifying whether it's blessed or cursed is a magic marker, and that might just be the fact that tools are always uncursed. So I'm not actually 100% sure about that. So we're going to wish for this Gray Dragon Scale Mail. That's my suggestion for your first wish. In this case, we can take off our armor here. We got a cloak. Take off our cloak, capital T, take off our armor. Very, very heavy plate mail. We're going to wear the dragon scale mail, and we end up getting a +2 just like we requested. So that worked out. And we can go ahead and drop the heavy plate mail. All right, so that's one of the good things that can happen from dipping Excalibur. You might just get really lucky and get a wish. Now, also, that demon is not guaranteed to be friendly. So if it does turn out to be a hostile water demon, they're very dangerous. They attack, they can summon other water demons. So you can very quickly end up getting overwhelmed by a large number of water demons. And so water demons are very powerful, particularly if your weapon is a rusty longsword, which is likely if you've been dipping for Excalibur. Fortunately, water demons are very slow. So my suggestion would be, and again, start from the lowest dungeon level that has a fountain, like dungeon level 1 if you can. Both because that maximizes your chance of getting a wish. And also, if you end up getting a water demon, you can just run to the stairs. You can outrun them, and in general, and just run away, get to the stairs, go to dungeon level 2, just deal with that water demon on your way back up. So I'm going to keep dipping, or quaffing rather, because I want to see if we can get, and here we go. This is the other dangerous thing I wanted to point out. And this is actually more dangerous in some ways than the water demon. These are water moccasins. In fact, we got a little bit lucky here. We only got 2 of them. I think you can get 4 of them. I've seen before. You can get surrounded by water moccasins. And they are not slow, and also they have a poisonous bite. So you'll see if you look at the statistics for characters and what kills them, you'll see a lot of deaths from water moccasins. This is basically from characters quaffing from fountains early on to try and get that wish, and then they get killed by water moccasins. So what do you do if there's water moccasins surrounding you? So first thing to point out is that if the fountain is still there, and it is, you can't write Elbereth on the fountain. So Elbereth is generally a great idea to get rid of these water moccasins, to make them run away so you can get away from them. But in this case, because you're standing on a fountain, you actually can't write Elbereth. So you can actually, so if you can't step away, you might be in trouble. Just try and get to a doorway, try and get off the fountain and write Elbereth as soon as possible. In this case, we can actually step up into the right and get away from them a little bit. You'll see that they moved right with me. One of them actually attacked me, so they're fast. Now that we're off of the fountain, we can go ahead and engrave, Shift E. We're going to write with our finger, and we're going to write Elbereth. And that worked. So you can see that they start to run away. If I look down, you'll see we were able to write it correctly. That's about a 2/3 chance. I think maybe a 70% chance to write it correctly. So now that they're running, you have a few turns here. So I would suggest you just make your way to the downstairs. I actually made a mistake here. You'll see that there was an item next to the fountain, and there's actually a water moccasin that hid under the item. So I actually kind of messed up there. So we're going to go ahead and write Elbereth again here. And they turn to flee again. And now we can potentially get away, get to those stairs. The third bad thing that can happen, and I'm just going to juke or go around and see if I can get around these, because I want to show you the third danger. This character is not important. So the third thing that could happen is a water nymph will appear. So we don't have a water nymph, but we do have a wood nymph here, which is a similar danger. If a water nymph appears, so normally nymphs appear on the level asleep. So in this case, this wood nymph is sleeping. But if they appear because of a fountain, they'll be awake. They'll appear right next to you and they're awake. And that can be a real problem. So I'll show you what they do. We're just going to kick it here. Wake it up. All right, so you'll see it says it teleports, evading your kick. So pretends to be friendly. This is their attack. They didn't never do any damage. They just do a sort of like a charm attack where they pretend to be friendly. Just going to kick it again. And eventually, it says, the wood nymph charms you. You gladly hang over your cloak, and they steal your items, and then they'll teleport away. So this can be really annoying. It can actually be very dangerous because they'll steal your primary weapon, or they'll steal your armor and make you less well protected. I think we actually evaded that charm attack a few times because we were wearing that cloak protection, which gives you magic cancellation 3. It's one of the only ways to get magic cancellation 3 from a single item. In fact, I think it is the only way to get magic cancellation 3. So we had like a 80% chance to resist the attack. But yeah, so very dangerous, very annoying. So how do you deal with that? And what I would recommend is that you have some sort of a stack of missile weapons. In this case, we have 9 arrows here. We'll see if we can get that. We can actually do this. We're going to try and find that nymph again. Let me see if we can do this without getting killed by these water moccasins. Go ahead and engrave Elberth again. We'll get back to our primary character in a second here. And these water moccasins might kill me. They're poisonous. We're not poison resistant, so you can get an insta-death from them. So what we're going to try and do is find that nymph from a distance and throw our arrows at it. I think we can take this centaur, although maybe not. Yeah, okay, we can kill it. So, okay, there's a nymph. Unfortunately, it's not very far away. You really want to be able to attack it from a distance. In fact, one thing you can do, and remember, you can't write Elberth on the fountain, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and fire an arrow at it. It's going to get close to me, and I'm going to engrave Elberth here just to get it to run away. It didn't work, so it stole another thing, just a scroll, and it teleported away. So we're going to go and try and find that nymph. And maybe I'll just describe the strategy, but the idea is you try and find them across the room and throw things at them and get them, kill them from a distance. Yeah, so dipping in fountains has 3 dangers, which we saw. So it's the water demon, water moccasins, nymphs. There's other things it can do. It can actually make your gold disappear, any gold in your open inventory, things like that. We're going to leave overexplained to here in this terrible situation, and we're actually going to go back to overexplained 1. And continue our game there. So I'm going to quit here. And we're going to go open up a new session here. Login is overexplained. And let me just make sure I turn off my keyboard here. Yeah, that worked. Let's turn off this. Okay. All right. Let me turn it back on again. And here we are, back at our, back where we were, overexplained. And we finished Sokoban. We got the Bag of Holding and Sokoban. Yes, we have our Bag of Holding. We do have a towel, which is nice. We have a unicorn horn. We still don't have any kind of unlocking tool. I believe we still don't have telepathy either. If I wanted teleportation, I think we used that once to get out of trouble with the Leocrata. We have a touchstone. So we finished sort of the early game, and now we're moving on to mid game. So let's talk about maybe some early goals here. So let me actually copy this here. I'll paste it down here. Change this. Okay. So now we're talking about mid-game goals. So we're sort of trying to flesh out our Ascension Kit. Ascension Kit is just a term that NetHack players use for a collection of items that you are likely to need in order to ascend in the game. Not everything is 100% required, but they make the game a lot easier. So you want to get as many things as you can from the Ascension Kit. And mid-game is kind of the place where you're going to try and get those things that you haven't gotten already. So things that I would kind of put here would be poison resistance. That's going to really increase your survivability. Well, actually, let's do the first one. It should always be your goal. First goal should always be to survive. Second goal here would be to get poison resistance if you haven't already gotten it. We're going to get telepathy. We want to get let's do it this way. Telepathy. We want to get a unicorn horn. A blindfold. An unlocking tool. A pickaxe. What else? Some of these things we have already. Excalibur was an early game goal. I would say a source of levitation is going to be on here. A tonal instrument. And not all of these are 100% required, but there's some combination of these things that would be really useful. A bag. So that could be a sack, that could be a bag of holding. And then a source of reflection and a source of magic resistance. So I think this might actually be more like, you probably don't need all this stuff. And let's see, I might be missing something, but I'll think about it. So what do we have already in our current game? We found a source of levitation. We found that ring of levitation. We were able to ID that by BUC testing it on an altar, and we tried it on, and it auto ID'd. We have a tonal instrument. We found a flute. We have a bag because our Sokoban reward was the bag of holding. So you're guaranteed to get at least either the bag or the source of reflection if you finish Sokoban. We have a blindfold. We actually found both a blindfold and a towel, both of which work well. We have a unicorn horn. And let's see, what do I have for intrinsics here? We still have no poison resistance. So we have no telepathy, no poison resistance. So we need to get both of those things. We need an unlocking tool. I don't think we have a pickaxe either. Unless is it in my bag? Nope. So we don't have a pickaxe either. Yeah, so we're still looking for quite a few things off of this list. And this might seem a little bit overwhelming, like there's a lot of things here. You're likely to find a selection of these things just, in the early game, just by exploring all those levels. Oh, and then actually, I put it here. I think this is what we were going to do next. Holy water. Okay. So we're going to try and get some holy water, and then we'll sort of think about the rest of these things. Oops, I just messed up all my formatting. Let me actually undo that. There we go. And I'll just put it down here. All right, holy water. And yes, Xerxia, I agree. So a lizard corpse. Lizard corpse is also really important. I think I may have talked about that before. Lizard corpse never go bad. And we actually have one. So lizard corpse never go bad. They're always good to eat. And they prevent stoning from cockatrices, from their hissing. And also they can be eaten if you start to turn to stone and save your life that way. I'm just going to put that there. We found a lizard corpse. All right, so I think we were going to try and get holy water first. So I'm going to apply my bag, A, B, take out, and let's take a look at our potions here. And again, I think I did this at the end of last session. We have a bunch of potions here. None of them are clear potions. So they're all, we don't know what they are. We think this one might be object detection because we found it on a nymph. But these other ones, we don't know what they are. And we're going to turn these into water by dipping them in fountains. So, and I believe, again, using that Shift-3 extended command overview, OV, look here. There's no fountain until you get to level 5. So we didn't find any early fountains in this game. So we're going to have to go back up to level 5 to the Oracle of Delphi where there's 4 guaranteed fountains. So we start out doing that. I think we have plenty of food. Yeah, we have 7 food rations, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to use the travel command, which is _, and then greater than to select the downstairs, and period to just fast travel over to the downstairs. I'm not sure. I think this is the downstairs to the dungeon proper. And indeed it is. So the other downstairs down below was to the gnomish mines. So again, we're going to repeat again. We're on dungeon level 4. We want to go to dungeon level 5. So _ greater than period, and then greater than to descend the stairs. And here we are at the Oracle level. And there are 4 fountains here, which we can use to dilute our potions. So we're going to go and kill this dust vortex. So The Dust Vortex is not terribly dangerous, but it does blind you. We destroy it and we're still blind, but we can go ahead and A to apply our Unicorn Horn, which I have set to U, and that undoes that negative effect, and we can see again. All right, so we're going to go on top of these fountains. The Oracle doesn't care if you use them. So this can actually be a really good place to dip for Excalibur. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to dip our potions. So just hitting I here. Actually, let's take them out of our bag. So A to apply, B, which is where I put my bag. And then O to take something out. D for potions. We're going to take all these out, so I'll hit the comma just to select all of them and hit enter. We're going to pull all those out of the bag. So looking at them, you can see they're assigned these various letters. So we're going to dip E first, this Cloudy Potion. Actually, we could dip the object detection first, because that tends to be less useful. So we'll dip Y first. So extended command is, again, the pound symbol, D for dip. And we're going to dip Y. Dip a blessed potion called object detection into the fountain, yes or no. Y again for yes. So it dilutes and a feeling of loss comes over you. So again, you're rolling on that same table. So when you're dipping potions, all those bad effects we talked about at the beginning of this video could happen here. We're better prepared to deal with it now than we would have been early on and before we got Excalibur. A feeling of loss comes over you just means that that fountain would have uncursed a cursed item, but because that potion was already blessed, it does nothing. All right, we dip Y again. You have to dip it twice. So right now it turned from a potion called object detection to a diluted potion called object detection. So you have to dip it one more time. It dilutes further, and here we go. Water moccasins appear. So this is actually dangerous. We do have a doorway right here, which I'm tempted to just step into and fight them in the doorway. I think we can kill these. There's always a risk involved. We don't have poison resistance, so they could insta-kill us. But I think we'll just risk it. I could also, well, I can't write Elberth here. Again, if I hit the colon, you'll see there's a fountain here, so I can't write Elberth anyway. So we're going to step back into the doorway, which we do successfully, and step back again. And now we can fight them one at a time with Excalibur and decent AC. So we're going to do that. We hit it, it bites us, and then we kill it. And then we can fight the second one. Bites, bites, and then we kill the second one. They didn't, neither one of them dropped a corpse, so they are poisonous to eat. They might, I think they convey poison resistance as well, but they're with all the normal dangers of eating a poisonous corpse. Let's look here. Yeah, so it gives you a 27% chance to convey resistance, which is kind of borderline for being worthwhile. Like, I might eat that just to try and get the poison resistance. Again, it won't kill you eating a poisonous corpse. It will only damage your strength. Actually, now that we have a unicorn horn, it's perfectly safe to eat poisonous corpses because in 3.6, which we're playing, you can apply your unicorn horn to restore any poison damage that you've sustained. All right, so we're going to continue dipping. Let's take a look at our inventory here. You'll see that we have, now we have Y is now an uncursed clear potion, which is what we want. That's a potion of water. So now we're just going to go through here and dip some other ones. So we'll dip E. All right, so it dilutes and then the fountain dries up. So there's always a chance that the fountain is going to dry up. So now we have a diluted potion. We got to dip that again. Dip E. It dilutes further. The urge to take a bath overwhelms you. So this message usually means that you would lose any gold in your open inventory, but because we have a bag, we shove all our gold into that bag, and it protects us from that effect. So now we have two clear potions here, E and Y, and let's go ahead and dip Z next here. Dilutes further. We'll do J next. Okay. And capital Q. And we get another effect here. It says water gushes forth from the overflowing fountain. So that just creates pools of water around. So we can do //. You'll see down here, this is not a fountain. You can actually, you see it's the opposite direction. So it's a right-facing curly bracket. It's actually a slightly different color too. So water like that, if you step into that water, you're going to sink into the water. It can rust your armor. It can blank scrolls and dilute potions. So just don't step into water like that if you can avoid it. All right, so we have a diluted fizzy potion. We'll dip again. Capital Q. All right, so now we have more water, and then finally L. Capital L. All right, so we have all these clear potions. And now that you have all these clear potions, they're actually identical, but they aren't stacked. So you can stack them pretty easily. So what we're going to use the adjust command, which we used last time to change, things which I use often, like my bag and the unicorn horn, to letters which I'm familiar with. But now we're going to use adjust again. So again, let's extend command, AD for adjust, enter. We're going to adjust E, which is that first potion, and we're going to adjust it to E again. And then you'll notice that it says merging. So adjusting it to itself, adjusting E to itself actually is going to merge all 6 of those potions together into one stack. The other way you can do it is just by dropping everything and picking them up again. Actually, it looks like we have a swirly potion here too. So let's go ahead and dip that or dilute that as well. What is F, capital F? Yeah. Okay, strange tingling runs up your arm. The fountain dries up. I think that's just a mess. That message doesn't mean anything. We're going to get an adjust EE and just collect them together. That's interesting. So F didn't merge there. Oh, I'm trying to dip. Never mind. It's actually adjust. Adjust EE. There we go. Merging. That's what we want. Okay, so we're done dipping. And now we have those potions. We're going to actually put them back in the bag. So apply the bag, I for put in, and then potions. Put those potions away so they don't get destroyed. I'm going to go back to that altar to make some holy water. You could also dip some scrolls here, but we'll hold off on that for now. So we're going to go back to the upstairs here. Use a travel command for that. And here's a kobold mummy, so we can go ahead and kill that. They're not terribly dangerous. And they often have mummy wrappings. We're not likely to need one. Actually, go ahead and pick up mummy wrapping, at least one, because they can come in handy later. And particularly, so if you make yourself permanently invisible, you will no longer be able to go into shops. But wearing a mummy wrapping will temporarily make you visible, so you can enter shops while still having the advantage of permanent invisibility. So having a mummy wrapping is helpful. All right, so we're going to go back up. And we're going to go up again. And here we are back to the altar. So just underscore to move our cursor over there, and then period to travel to the altar. So let's go ahead and BUC test everything. So you can capital D, drop, capital X, things that are of unknown blessed curse status. So just the mummy wrapping here. And the mummy wrapping is not cursed, so we could potentially wear it. It doesn't actually give us any AC. The Orcish Cloak gives us 1 AC. But so now we're going to go ahead and create the holy water. Now, if we want to be really cautious here, we might want to sacrifice something on this altar first. And that's gonna give you some information about whether or not it's safe to pray or not. Let's go through that process, and then I'll show you the other way to do it. So I'm going to do N99S. We're going to wait for something to come here. So this is an interesting message. The dungeon acoustics noticeably change. You hear crashing rock. Both of these things mean there's something in the dungeon that's digging, creating new tunnels. It's either like a dwarf with a pickaxe or maybe a rock mole. I'm beginning to feel hungry, so let's go and eat something. I'll eat one of our food rations. And again, we're going to do N99S. We're going to continue waiting. And nothing's appearing. One more time. All right, finally we get a newt here. And let's go ahead and see if we can kill it. Oh, it's an iguana. We did kill it, but didn't drop a corpse. Do we have like anything to create monsters with? Yes, we do. So we have this bag of tricks here. So the bag of tricks, I talked about how you can never put the bag of tricks into your bag of holding, because if you do, then your bag of holding will explode. And the bag of tricks has one use, and that use is that you can apply it, and it will create a monster near you. In this case, it actually created a whole bunch of Mordor orcs. So dark blue orcs like this are Mordor orcs. So they can be pretty dangerous. They're not as dangerous as Uruk-hai because they're less likely to have poisonous arrows, but they can be pretty dangerous. In this case, it's actually fine because we have Excalibur and decent AC. Not great that we're surrounded, but we can actually fight our way to this doorway maybe. Nice. Watch our HP. We took a point of damage there. I'm going to kill this one in the doorway. Actually, we have to kill this one too. We'll make our way back into the doorway. So we can fight them one at a time. They kill themselves by throwing items. I'm just hitting S here, letting them approach me. You see that orc was actually a named orc. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but the fence, which is actually interesting. It's related to Orktown, I believe. All right, so they are dropping corpses here, which is what we wanted. All right, so let's kill the last two here. And, oh, lovely. There's a doorway here. You see a key. So that's actually one of the things we were looking for. Going back to our list here. And we're looking for an unlocking tool. So we found one. Go ahead and grab that. And so we can check that off. Xerxia is talking about tipping a bag of tricks. Does that create multiple creatures at once? I'm actually not sure about that mechanic. All right, but here's a Mordor orc corpse, which is what we wanted. So I'm going to pick that up. It is going to make us burdened here. In fact, it makes us strained, which is even more than burdened. But we're going to just take it one space up here to the altar. And then we're going to offer it. So you can sacrifice things on the altar with the offer command. So that's going to be an extended command. And the OFF to offer. And we're going to offer K, which is the Mordor orc corpse. It's consumed in a flash of light. Uh-oh. An object appears at your feet. The voice of Tyr rings out, use my gift wisely. All right, so we got a gift here, and it is a warhammer named Mjolnir. So that's the first sacrifice gift that you get as a Valkyrie. This is actually not what I wanted to happen. Zemburning asks how the army of orcs showed up, and we applied the bag of tricks, trying to find a corpse to check whether or not we could safely pray. But sort of backfired in that we were gifted Molnir. If you're gifted a sacrifice, an artifact weapon from your god, it's going to make it so it's no longer safe for you to pray for a certain period of time. But sacrificing things on the altar will reduce that prayer timeout. So we're going to go ahead and see if there's other corpses here that we can bring over. And there are 2 actually, so we can pick up another one here. We're going to sacrifice that. Offer X, consumed in a flash of light. You have a hopeful feeling. So a hopeful feeling is the keyword. That means that our prayer timeout has not yet elapsed, so we can't safely pray yet. I'll go ahead and sacrifice this other one. This other Mortar Orc corpse. Yes. Bring it over here. We're going to offer it. And it says nothing happens. That's because that corpse is too old. So we can actually drop that. So we're going to pick up all this stuff and I guess we BUC test it. Not going to pick those things up. So we're burdened. We can, I'm actually going to drop the Orcish Chainmail here, because even if it is uncursed or even enchanted, it's not going to be as good as our Elvish Mithril. But I'm going to capital D drop, capital X, everything that's not BUC tested onto the altar here. This is a blessed knife. Some helms. Okay. Pick all that up. And he hit escape here to just skip past all those messages. We'll go and pick that up. And so we have a +1 Orcish Helm, but we can go ahead and try these other ones, see if we get lucky. Get a +2 or +3 instead. So we can go ahead and take off capital U. Start wearing these other ones because they're uncursed. So that one's +0. This one is +0. +0. And +0. So none of them are as good as the one we had before, so we'll put that one back on. +1 Orcish Helm. In fact, we can drop that in the altar. It is blessed. We didn't know that before. Wear it. And then we'll go up here, we'll just drop capital D, drop armor. And I think we drop all of these things except for maybe the mummy wrapping. So it won't drop the things that are being worn, but everything else is not as good as what we have. Like, we want our +3 small shield, and the helms aren't just good as the one we are wearing. I should drop all that stuff on the ground and come back down here. That's a cursed knife. We don't really care. And Orcish Chainmail, pick that up. Just gonna put all this stuff over here. This is sort of inventory management. We'll drop armor and weapons, and we'll get rid of these knives, the scimitar, and this Orcish Chainmail. And that makes us unencumbered. So now we're going to get our prayer timeout back down. I guess I kind of, I didn't talk about Molnir. Molnir actually is a very powerful weapon, but I don't like it as much as Excalibur. It does more damage than Excalibur by against anything that isn't resistant to shock. So Molnir, let's take a look. Let's look it up. It does D4 or D4 +1 damage normally, but it does +1 D24 shock damage. which is huge. An enormous amount of damage. So it's really great, but you only get that bonus damage against things that are not shock resistant. So it really suffers against things that are shock resistant. The other reason why I don't like it as much is the lightning in 3.6. And actually, is that a 3.6 or a 3.7 change? So when the lightning strikes, I believe it wakes everything up. Yeah, it says it right here. Yeah, Mjolnir's lightning strikes will also wake nearby monsters. So it destroys. It can destroy wands and rings in the target's inventory. It also wakes things up. We would like to take advantage of our Valkyrie stealth in certain areas. So yeah, for those reasons, I don't like it as much. Also, it doesn't have Excalibur's advantages of automatic searching and also level drain resistance. So yeah, I would probably not use Mjolnir. It does have some fun stuff you can do. If you end up with Gauntlets of Power, you can throw Mjolnir and it will return to you. There's some chance, like 1% of the time, you might fail to catch it, and it may strike you and destroy your wands and rings. That's another bad thing about Mjolnir. But I'll probably hang on to it for now. We can actually use it as a thrown weapon. A very powerful thrown weapon, which might come in handy. Zemburnian says Excalibur is greater than Mjolnir unless you have the Gauntlets of Power. And I would say even if you do have Gauntlets of Power, I would prefer Excalibur over Mjolnir. For that chance that Mjolnir is going to actually, you're going to throw it, it's going to come back and destroy your powerful rings or wands. All right, so we got Mjolnir. Let's go ahead and use that bag of tricks again to try and get our prayer timeout down here. So we're going to apply capital K, and we got an F here. Let's go ahead and check out what that is. And it's a house cat, so it's one of the more powerful. It's not a large cat, but it is more powerful than a kitten. I think we can probably take this thing. Are we able to kill it? Let's apply capital K again. Get a homunculus, kill it. Doesn't drop a corpse. Apply capital K. So we got a bunch of things here, including a couple things of which of interest here. So let's go ahead and / We'll take a look at everything. So first off, there's a rock piercer that's not very interesting. It's not very strong. Not too worried about that. We got a floating eye, which could be really good if it drops a corpse, because eating a floating eye corpse will give us that telepathy we really want. There's a ghoul, which can be dangerous because a ghoul can paralyze you, which would make you vulnerable to everything else attacking you. And we have a were-rat. So the were-rats, any kind of were creature is dangerous. They can both give you lycanthropy, and they can also summon a bunch of things that they are. So a were-rat can summon a bunch of rats. So in this case, we're kind of in a corner, surrounded by all these things. We could Elbereth here. Or we could just fight them. Probably the safest thing to do here is Elbereth. Actually, I'm not sure Elbereth works against were creatures. Let's see if you even write it successfully here. So the ghoul turns to flee, the were-rat turns into a rat and bites. So yeah, the were creatures are not affected by Elbereth. I'm looking at the ground here. We did write it successfully, and the rat is still attacking us. So with things which are represented by @ symbols, are not affected by Elbereth. So that includes were creatures, elves, watchmen, things like that. So let's kill this were-rat. It's the most dangerous thing here. Fortunately, a were-rat's not very strong, so one swing kills it. Go and kill the rock piercer next. And now let's kill the ghoul. All right, so we did. So now we have this floating eye. Floating eyes are very dangerous. I think we probably talked about floating eyes before. In fact, they should probably be on early game dangers here. Just because if you're moving around manually, just with your keyboard and not really paying attention, they have a passive attack. If you attack a floating eye, they can freeze you for a very long period of time, and any other creature can come by and they can just kill you very, very easily while you're paralyzed. But if you sort of resist the temptation to move around manually, if you use the auto travel command instead, if you use the numpad 5 and then push in a direction, you're much less likely to run into a floating eye, and they become a lot less dangerous. But I will put them here as an early game danger. So it's a dark blue E. In fact, let's put that here too. Soldier ants are dark blue. But we can safely attack this floating eye. We can either do it by throwing things at it, but we also have a blinding tool. In this case, we have actually both a blindfold and a towel. But we're going to go ahead and use our towel here. So we're going to Shift P to put on our T or towel. You're now wearing a towel around your head. You can't see anymore. So we know the floating eye is here. It has a gaze attack, which can no longer affect us because we're blinded. So we can Shift F to force attack in the downward direction and we kill it. And then Shift R to remove our towel. You can see again. And it seems like luckily you see here a floating eye corpse. So it dropped a corpse. We want to eat that 100% of the time. Okay. So eat it. Yes. The floating eye corpse tastes okay. You finish eating the floating eye corpse. You feel a strange mental acuity. So that's telepathy. So we've gotten a couple things off this list done already. So we're going to go ahead and mark off telepathy. Or what is telepathy? Telepathy means that if you're blind, so we can put that towel back on, capital P and capital T. You're now wearing a towel around your head. You can't see anymore. And you'll notice all of a sudden, this cat and the shopkeeper and this Mordor orc all just appeared. So we're actually seeing them with telepathy. You're blind, which means you're not going to be able to see walls or objects or things around you, but anything with a brain, so not mindless or undead, but anything with a brain you'll be able to see through telepathy, which is very, very powerful. All right, so I'm going to remove that towel. There's still a ghoul here. I guess we actually summoned 2 of them. I'll go get this rock piercer corpse and try and sacrifice it before it gets too old. Go over here and offer it. Offer the X. Consumed in a flash of light. You have a hopeful feeling. So again, we still have not reduced that prayer timeout enough to pray. Let's go and try and kill this ghoul. We hit it and we destroy it. All right. So we're going to use that bag of tricks again. So apply capital K, and we get another @ sign here, and it's a werejackal. So another were creature with all the different dangers, but we were able to kill it. Now, what can you sacrifice and what can you not on an altar? What can you offer an altar safely? So let's take a look at that in the wiki here, because I want to make sure that I'm speaking correctly here. All right. All right. If the creature you sacrifice is of your own race, you get good effects if you're chaotic and bad effects otherwise. All right, so we're lawful. We are a lawful Valkyrie. So we're gonna, if we increase our god's anger by 3, so your luck decreases by 5, you lose 1 point of wisdom. All these things happen. So bad things happen if you do a same race sacrifice. So you can remind yourself what your race is by doing Control X. You'll see right here, it says you are a fighter, a level 9 Dwarven Valkyrie. So we're a dwarf. So we can't sacrifice dwarfs on the altar without angering our god. Were creatures are human. Let's double check that is true for all of them. Yeah, here it says right here. So were-rat is a human. Were-jackal is a human. So were creatures are human. So we should be able to sacrifice this safely. Whereas if we were a human Valkyrie, we would not. So let's go ahead and offer this. Yes. Consumed in a flash of light. You have a hopeful feeling. So again, we are still not able to pray successfully here. All right, and then finally apply K, nothing happens. So that means our bag of tricks is empty. So I usually like to keep track of that with a capital C, and then I for a particular object in your inventory, and then Shift K for the bag of tricks. What do you name this bag of tricks? So this is that specific bag. I'm going to call it empty. And then I'll just drop it. Drop capital K. I'll drop it there. So wait for a little bit longer. N99S. Actually, in fact, we know there's a mortar orc down here. Maybe we can entice them to come up here. They're throwing stuff at us. Threw a knife at us. Let's bring them up. Get them closer to the altar. We have a house cat again. This mortar orc is not... And there's the dwarf right there. That's digging around. So that's a peaceful dwarf with a pickaxe. And I think it's time to talk a little bit about alignment penalties, because on our list here, we have a pickaxe as one of the things we need is a pickaxe. And we can be pretty certain that this dwarf has a pickaxe because they're digging around. So I think we're going to want to kill that dwarf. So let's talk about alignment penalties. This is not right. We want alignment. Here's alignment record. Alignment record refers to your standing with your god. So ways to alter your alignment. So killing a peaceful monster. Let's go here. It's not one of these. All right, so it's going to be one of these. You kill a peaceful creature, it's going to fall under this category. So that means you're going to get a negative 3 alignment times a random number between 3 and the monster's alignment, M-align, which is going to be defined for each monster, monster.c, largely independent of monster difficulty. Okay, so it's a little bit hard to figure that out. Let's look at a dwarf. See if it says. Dwarf monster. They have Emma Lion in here. don't see it. Oh, here it is. Alignment 4. So a dwarf monster's alignment is 4. So our alignment penalty would be -3 times between 3 and 4, I think. So let's say it's going to be like -12. Yeah, peaceful. Okay. So you're going to get like a -12 alignment penalty for killing a dwarf. Now, what that means though is that you can kill, but you get like a positive alignment penalty for killing hostile creatures. This is kind of confusing me because this seems to say that. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's a like for killing cross-aligned creatures, you're going to get their alignment as a bonus to your alignment. Anyway, the short of what I wanted to say here is you can kill peaceful creatures. You're going to anger your god a little bit, but this penalty you can quickly erase just by killing a bunch of hostile creatures. So like roughly killing 3 times as many hostile creatures as peaceful creatures of a similar power level will erase that penalty. We're not going to kill the dwarf right this second because we're actually actively trying to pray, but I probably will kill that dwarf eventually for that pickaxe, and it's not a bad play necessarily. People get a little bit scared of killing peaceful creatures, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Looks like maybe the orc dropped a scroll here, or it's a mimic, but let's check it out. Oh, nice. It's a 300 cost scroll too. So we can go and we pick that up automatically. Let's get this mortar orc to come over here, and we'll see if we can't kill it. And come on. I'm hitting S here to try and get it to move closer to me. Try and get it to follow me. And then we'll kill it and try and get it to the altar here. All right, so we kill it. It does drop a corpse, so let's go ahead and grab that corpse. And we'll restrained, but we're going to make our way over to the altar here and offer it. Your sacrifice is consumed in a flash of light. You have a hopeful feeling, so still no luck here. Still can't pray. I'll grab these things. And I'm going to drop them over here. Except for these. I'm actually going to BUC test the Orcish Helm and the scroll. And we'll try on the helmet again, just to see if we can't get another point of AC, but nope, still +0. And I'm going to go ahead and put that scroll, apply B, I'm going to put in the scroll. Actually, both these scrolls can go into the bag so we don't lose them. And I can drop the helmet, so capital D, C for armor, and we'll drop this uncursed Orcish Helm in this pile here. All right. Still waiting. Looking for something to sacrifice here. This house cat is actually peaceful, so we're not going to kill that. All right, here we go. Is a snake. We're able to kill it. I could eat this snake corpse for poison resistance, which might actually be more useful. Let's take a look. I don't remember. Yeah, it gives you a 27% chance of poison resistance, which is one of the things on our list. That's very important. It may damage our strength, but we have a unicorn horn, so we're going to be able to restore that damage. So I'm going to go and eat this instead of sacrificing it. So I'll eat it. So, yep, that must have been poisonous. We dropped down from, it was 1802 to 17. Tastes okay. You finish eating the snake corpse, you hear a jackal howling at the moon. So no message there. It means we didn't get our poison resistance that we wanted, and we did damage our strength. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my unicorn horn, and you see it brings our strength back up to 18. We're going to repeatedly apply our unicorn horn. Sometimes it will do something, sometimes it won't, and we'll get back up to our strength of 1802 here. All right, so here's our werejackal. So just to show you here, there was a message. You hear a jackal howling at the moon, so that means there's a werejackal on this level. And so this is almost certainly the werejackal. We can take a look, and yes, it is. So we're gonna kill that. Dropped a potion. We can go ahead and PUC test it, and then we'll put it away into our bag. All right, finally, here comes an orc. I think this is an orc shaman. Yep, so they're not terribly dangerous. Didn't drop in a corpse though. And now we're getting hungry again. And here's a goblin. Oh, I think it dropped a corpse. Let's take that goblin corpse over here and we'll offer it. All right, your sacrifice has consumed a flash of light. Your movements are now unencumbered. So notice there was no hopeful feeling. So if you get the flash of light and then no other message, no hopeful feeling, that means that you can safely pray. There may also be, you have a feeling of reconciliation. So that would mean that previously, before you sacrificed that creature, you were unable to pray safely, but by sacrificing that creature, you actually reduced your prayer timeout enough so that now you can pray safely. So that's one way to figure out, make sure that you can safely pray. And to do the message history is Control P. That brings up your message history. So Control P brings up your message history. So the other way you can find out if you can safely pray, and this is the easier way, I just wanted to show you the harder way in case you don't have this option, would be to use your Wand of Enlightenment. So last time we found this Wand of Enlightenment, so we can go ahead and zap that. So Z for zap, and capital X, you feel self-knowledgeable. And so it gives us all these different things. We're cold resistant, we're sleep resistant. I think we got that through maybe eating an elf or something. We have telepathy, you're telepathic. Let's actually mark that off while we're here. Automatic searching from Excalibur, infravision for being a dwarf, stealthy for being a Valkyrie, guarded. I forget exactly what that's from. From magic cancellation from our armor. I think is what we determined. Someone told me that last time. We're fast because we're a level 7 Valkyrie, which is here speed. And then the bottom thing is you can safely pray. All right, so we know we can safely pray now. We're hungry right now. So to get the most utility out of praying, I would actually suggest just waiting until you're weak. Because if you're weak, you can actually get your hunger level will be increased as in addition to the other effects. All right, so we're weak now, so we're going to A for apply, or B, our bag. We're going to take out O, D, potions. And we're going to take out these 7 uncursed clear potions. We're actually going to drop them on the altar. Make sure you don't drop potions if you're levitating. That's a bad idea. They tend to shatter. All right, so now if we look down, there's an altar to tier here, and there are 7 uncursed clear potions. We're weak at the same time, and we know we can safely pray. So we're going to do hash pray. Are you sure you want to pray? Yes. All right, so you can pray into tier. You're surrounded by a shimmering light. You finish your prayer. The potions on the altar glow light blue for a moment. You feel that tier is well pleased. Your stomach feels content. So because we were weak, that's considered a major trouble. So or a trouble. And because we're an altar, they actually will remove our hunger, and also at the same time, they blessed the potions. Now we have 7 blessed clear potions. So 7 potions of holy water is what that is. So we can go ahead and mark that off here. Off on our list. And we can actually start to use our holy water in some interesting ways. So if we had found a magic lamp in Minetown, we could then dip that magic lamp in one of our blessed clear potions to bless it, and then we can rub it to try to get that 80% chance to get a wish. That's a really great early source of a wish for your Grey Dragon Scale Mail. The other things that you probably want to bless early are your Bag of Holding and your Unicorn Horn. Maybe less importantly, your Unicorn Horn. But the Bag of Holding, if it's blessed, is going to reduce the weight of all the items inside of the bag by a larger amount. So having your Bag of Holding being blessed is really important. And then having your Unicorn Horn being blessed means that it's going to remove those bad status effects more reliably, which could be very, very useful. So we do have 7 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and dip both of them. Zen Burning also mentions blessing a Luckstone is good. I think we did talk about Luckstones, but as a Valkyrie, I'd say it's not a must to go get the Luckstone, because your quest artifact actually acts as a Luckstone, and we're going to get that a little bit later on. So I'm going to go ahead and we have 7 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and dip a couple of them, use a couple. So I'm going to dip B for the Bag of Holding. I'm going to dip it into the 7 Blessed Clear Potions. Your bag called Holding glows with a light blue aura. You're going to call it Water. All right, so now we have 6 potions of water left, and our Bag of Holding is blessed. And I think I'll also bless the Unicorn Horn. So that's U for Unicorn Horn. Dip that into our potions of water. And so now we have a blessed Unicorn Horn. Now the next thing I'm going to bless is not really that important, but I'm going to do it just for the for some fun and to show you what you can do. I'm going to actually bless the touchstone. So we showed you how to use an uncursed touchstone. We actually use that to figure out that some of these gems are likely valuable, because if the gems scratch the touchstone, they're hard, and that means they're not glass. If the gems leave streaks of color on the touchstone, then they're soft, which means they may be glass or they might be something else. But we're going to go ahead and bless our touchstone here. So I'm going to dip our G touchstone into one of our potions of water. We're going to bless it. Then I'm going to take out of my bag all of these gems. And now we can apply that blessed touchstone. So A for apply, G, and we're going to rub all of our gems onto this, and it's going to identify them right away. So right now we know that these are green glass. That's orange glass, red glass, yellow glass. Now we think these should be valuable because they were hard, but I guess we did that wrong because that's actually black glass. So I guess I did that wrong. That's a fluorite stone, so that actually was valuable. And the last one is yellowish brown glass. So I guess I was messing up on my identification. It did seem like there were a lot more valuable things than I thought there should be. We can go ahead and drop all this, all of this glass. I'm going to show you, now that we've identified a fluorite stone, we can actually go down into the shop here. There's actually a nymph in there that's sleeping. But we can actually drop this fluorite stone in here. And now that it is identified, the shopkeeper is actually going to offer us a decent amount of gold for it. So we can sell it for 200 gold, which is just a way to get some extra gold if you want to. So we could sneak past this nymph here. That's just a touchstone. So I already knew what that was. Okay. I'm going to go and kill this dwarf. Actually, I'm a little concerned. I think killing the dwarf is it might yell. So if you attack a peaceful creature, it's going to yell out. And I think that will wake up that nymph. But I think that's okay. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to capital P, put on my towel. So we can keep our eye on that nymph. And we can kill it from range, would be the idea. All right, so the dwarf is digging around. A bunch of grid bugs appear. Let's kill the grid bugs. And now I'm going to Shift F to force attack the dwarf. All right, so the dwarf gets angry. You kill the dwarf. Just looking here, the nymph actually doesn't wake up. So it didn't yell out. We can remove that towel. The dwarf had a wand of digging, which is nice. And it also had a pickaxe. Actually, it had a longsword too. And a pair of iron shoes. I'm just looking at what I have here. I'm wearing high boots. We can check out the iron shoes, see if they're any better. We don't need the longsword at this point. If we were a different character, like a samurai, the longsword might come in handy. We're not going to pick up the dwarf corpse. You don't want to eat it as a dwarf. You don't want to sacrifice it, so we're going to leave it be. Pick up the pickaxe. Let's go ahead and BUC test this stuff. And sorry, Zen Burning asks, what about blessing the magic marker? And I would not recommend blessing the magic marker. A uncursed magic marker is the most flexible of the markers because it allows you to write blessed scrolls on blessed paper. It lets you write cursed scrolls on cursed paper, both. So like a blessed magic marker there's like a combination of the different types of paper. So a blessed magic marker on an uncursed scroll of paper will write a blessed scroll. Blessed plus blessed is blessed. Blessed plus cursed is uncursed. So you'll never be able to write a cursed scroll using a blessed magic marker. And there are a few cursed scrolls that you may want to write. So I would recommend a uncursed magic marker being just a little bit more flexible and more powerful than actually a blessed one. Okay, let me just drop the stuff that we need to BUC test. All right, so the pickaxe is uncursed. And so we can mark that off in our list here. we now have a pickaxe. All right, so we don't have poison resistance. We have holy water. We need reflection, magic resistance. And yeah, so we're just a few things left here. Reflection, magic resistance, and poison resistance here are what we need. Looks like there's a pony here. Should double check that it's a pony. Yeah, it's just a pony. Ponies are not too tricky. Let's try on these hard shoes. Just see if they're magical. They're not. So I think I'd prefer the high boots. I think they're a little lighter. And I'm gonna go ahead and put away all these potions. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna drop this one first. It is blessed. All right, put away all these potions. Let's actually take a look at what we have in our bag here, as far as scrolls is concerned. So it looks like this character is not yet ID'd the identify scroll, and there are I don't know if these 3 scrolls we've price ID'd yet. I feel like we might have price ID'd them. I just didn't name them anything because they weren't anything interesting, but I can't recall at this point. So I'm going to go actually drop those and just make sure we didn't miss an identify scroll. Oh, okay. And this is interesting. So the shopkeeper asks us to leave the pickaxe outside. The reason for that is you can obviously use the pickaxe to dig your way out of the shop. But we have a bag. So we're actually going to go ahead and apply the bag and put in tools, our pickaxe here. So you put it into the bag of holding, and then we can go in with no problem. So first off, this scroll is an unlabeled scroll. So unlabeled is a keyword for a scroll of paper. So that's something we could actually write scrolls on with our magic marker after we've identified them. Let's go ahead and head over here. I'm going to take out some scrolls. We'll take out these ones, these 3 that aren't named anything. I just want to double check, make sure we haven't found identify here. I'm going to drop them. So that one is, they're offering 100, so that's worth 200. Let me just call it. So capital C F period. We're going to call it Diane 200. So now that's base cost 200. And drop capital I, and that's 40. So just looking at our chart here, selling for 40 is going to be 80. So it sells for 40, then it's base cost 80. I'm going to call that Iris 80. And just looking here, 60 and 80 are kind of special. Actually, 50, 60, and 80 are all ones that can only be a few things. So 50 is going to be light. 60 is always going to be enchant weapon. And 80 is always going to be either enchant armor or remove curse. So those are good ones to know. So that's either enchant armor or remove curse. And then the third one is LEP is 10. Hey, there we go. So selling for 10 means its base cost 20, which means it has to be identify. So that's good. So we can capital C call, F for floor. I'm going to call this identify. All right, so we pick that up. So once you've found an identify scroll, you can try and get a full inventory ID. So this currently is an uncursed scroll, but if it's a blessed scroll of identify, you're going to have a larger chance of identifying everything in your inventory. So scroll identify here. So here are the effects. So if it's a blessed scroll, you have a 20% chance of identifying everything in your inventory. If it's uncursed, you have a 1 in 25%, 1 in 25 chance, which is like a 4% chance of identifying everything in your inventory. So much, much smaller chance. So it makes sense to bless your identify if you have holy water. Sometimes you want to wait until you get multiple scrolls of identify, and then you can use one potion of holy water to bless a bunch of them. Just to kind of show this off and to just sort of maybe try and figure out some of what we have in our inventory here. So we're going to take everything out of the bag because it's not going to identify anything in the bag. We'll take out this scroll called Ver for sure, because that's a 300 cost scroll, which could be very powerful. I'll take out these potions just while we're at it. And then we're going to also take out 1A. So we're taking out 1 potion of blessed potion of water, and we're going to dip our capital O scroll of identify into our blessed potion of water. And now we have a blessed scroll of identify. So if we're lucky, there's a 20% chance here we could identify everything in our inventory. We might get 1, 2, 3, or 4 items identified as well. Let's see if we get lucky. So we're going to read it. Capital O. This is an identify scroll. And then, yep, we get a full ID. So actually I was lucky. And interestingly enough, that mummy wrapping is +3. So it's actually better than that orcish cloak that we're wearing right now. All right, so identify our wand of digging is 4 charges. Wand of teleportation is 4. We have a blessed potion of paralysis, a scroll of stinking cloud. So unfortunately, that base cost 300 scroll is one of the ones we don't want. Actually, I'll show you the list here. So if we go to base cost 300 and click on the question mark here, you'll see. So charging and genocide are the 2 that you really want. These are both very, very powerful scrolls. And then punishment and stinking cloud are the 2 which you're sort of disappointed to see. So unfortunately, the 2 expensive scrolls we have are both stinking cloud, which is not very useful. A wooden flute, so it wasn't a magic flute after all. But it's still a tonal instrument, which is useful. The Wand of Light has 13 charges. Wand of Digging has 5. And we have a Blessed Scroll of Create Monster. And that was a Scroll of Enchant Armor. A Potion of Invisibility. So, we can talk about that actually. And a Potion of Blindness, not very useful. A Wand of Locking. Also, I mean, it does have some uses. I think one of the most interesting uses of a Wand of Locking is you can actually shoot a zap, a Wand of Locking at a empty doorway, like here, and it will actually create a locked door there. So you can use that to kind of keep monsters away from you. Ring of Fire Resistance, okay. So I don't think we have fire resistance, right? That's right, we don't. So we could actually wear that, and it would be useful. Ring of Cold Resistance is not useful because we have that as an intrinsic. And a Cursed Ring of Hunger, obviously that's bad. The Magic Marker has 83 charges, which is great. I think generally you get between like 50 and 99, I think. All right. So we got that full ID. That's always good to get. And so I was going to talk about the Potion of Invisibility. So Potion of Invisibility has effects based on whether it's cursed, uncursed, or blessed. If it's uncursed, you can become invisible for 31 to 45 turns. This is not very useful. That's a very short period of time. But if it's blessed, you become permanently invisible. So you get the invisible intrinsic. which is very strong. It comes with that disadvantage, which I talked about, which is you can't go into stores, but we do have a mummy wrapping. It's actually a +3 mummy wrapping that we can wear to get into stores if we need to. If it's cursed, it also has the same effect as uncursed. You become invisible for 31 to 45 turns, but also all sleeping or meditating monsters in a level are awoken and aggravated. And this can actually be a very useful effect as well. So having a cursed potion of invisibility is something that you might take advantage of later in the game. But I'm considering actually quaffing, blessing and quaffing this invisibility potion to get that permanent invisibility. So being invisible will make it so that creatures will have difficulty locating you, and they also take a -2 2-hit penalty. They will attack the square they think you're located on. So it's a pretty powerful defensive ability, and we could get it permanently. They actually made it worse, invisibility worse in 3.7. In various ways, but it's still pretty good in 3.6. So I think I will actually, we're kind of running out of holy water here, but I'm going to use one more holy water. We're going to go ahead and dip our potion of invisibility, which is Shift K, into our blessed potion of water and bless it. And then I'm going to quaff it. Quaff K and G. All of a sudden you can't see yourself. So now we're here, we're this highlighted box. We can no longer see ourselves. All right, so we're permanently invisible. I'm actually going to take off, capital T, take off this orcish cloak. And then I'm going to capital W wear this +3 mummy wrapping. And then you can see yourself. You're now wearing a mummy wrapping. So that's the effect of the mummy wrapping. We can see ourselves again. It actually brings our AC down to -6. So for now, I think I will just wear that mummy wrapping. And then later on, we may decide to go permanently invisible. I guess we can drop the orcish cloak for now. So now we can actually mark that off here. We have permanent invisibility. I can actually put on, capital P, put on this ring of fire resistance here, capital R. Doesn't matter which finger you put it on. And now we have, we're temporarily fire resistant. So we can, we're not going to mark it off, but we know that we have fire resistance now. And I'm going to go ahead and use my bag, apply my bag, just put away everything which might be destroyed here. So these scrolls, these potions, and might as well put these rings away, I guess. They're much less likely to be destroyed, but there's some chance they could be destroyed, so might as well put them away. I'll put away one of my wands of digging, I guess the one with more charges, the wand of enlightenment, and the rest of these I'll keep out. All those go in the bag of holding, where they're safe, and they weigh less because we're putting them into a blessed bag of holding. All right, so where does that leave us on our list here? We need poison resistance. I think we'll get that pretty quickly. I mean, we should be able to get that. Now that we have a unicorn horn, we should be able to eat poisonous creatures and get that pretty quickly. And then we need reflection and magic resistance. So those are going to be harder to get. But I think the next thing to do is to dive deeper into the dungeon and search for ways to get these 3 things and survive. All right, so we're going to just keep going deeper and deeper into the dungeon. I think we'll leave everything else behind here. As long as you have at least 1 potion of holy water, you can create more. We're going to continue to dilute other potions. As long as we're pretty sure they're not valuable, we're going to dilute them in fountains as we find them. And then as we get a decent store of water, we can dip that water into our holy water and make more holy water. And in that way, as long as you don't get your potions of holy water destroyed, you should always have holy water available. So we're going to do travel, which is underscore and then greater than. This top staircase goes deeper into the dungeons of doom, and then period. Okay, we have a bunch of creatures here because we were waiting for a while, and one is a nymph. Let's actually just kill off everything over here. This brown F is a brown mold, which has a passive attack, which is cold, but we're resistant to that, so we can kill that without danger. It's a really good question. Grinning Gecko asks, what would be some important potions to keep an eye out for? So different people have different answers for this, but I think the important ones are going to be gain level and full healing, and to a lesser extent, extra healing as well. And all three of those are likely are potions that will be drank by creatures, and you'll see them drink those potions. So they're likely to be identified for you. In fact, let's take a look at our discoveries here, and that's the backslash key. And just see if any of those have been identified already. Just looking down at potions. Yes, it looks like a few of these have been identified. So we know healing. Healing's not very important. That could be diluted. But gain level is sky blue. So we saw some creature drink gain level. So that's been identified for us. And gain level is useful in two ways. One, it's going to help you get those final couple levels up to level 14. Level 14 is a very important level. It means you can go on your quest. And getting from level 11 or 12 to level 14 is really difficult without potions to gain level or some other ways you can gain levels. So gain level is important. And in the late game, cursed potions of gain level will also be very useful for escaping the dungeons of doom. So gain level, I think, is really useful. And then full healing is extremely powerful. If you find full healing, or if you see a creature drink a potion, they're fully healed, you're going to want to take note of that, or just keep your eye out for full healing potions. I would definitely hold on to those. And then potions of extra healing, to a lesser extent, they can be useful in keeping you alive. And then later on, you can actually use potions of extra healing to increase your max HP. So those are the three that I really keep my eyes out for. There are other ones that have sort of niche uses, but those are the ones that are most important. As Xerxia points out, potions of gainability and smoky potions. I agree. I mean, I think for a Valkyrie who usually starts off with pretty decent attributes, gainability is less important. A potion of gainability, if it's uncursed, will increase one of your stats, one of your attributes here, by 1 point. If it's a blessed potion of gainability, which is probably how you want to use it, if you can get a stack of them and bless them all, it's going to increase each of your attributes by 1. We would like to increase our constitution here, to be honest. Although at this point, I think it would not increase our max HP all that much because we're already at XP level 9. It's really better to get your constitution higher earlier in the game when, it's going to get your max HP up earlier. That's one reason why maybe if you're starting out the game, you might want to, save scum, which is like start games and then quit until you get a Valkyrie with a 19 or a 20 constitution. We didn't do that, but that might be worthwhile to do because then you start off with a high constitution at XP level 1 and your max HP gets a lot higher, a lot quicker. Yeah, so gainability is nice, but I think not crucial for a Valkyrie who starts off with decent attributes. And we're not going to be spell casting, so these other attributes are less important for us. And the other one is a smoky potion. So there are two potions which are special, two potion types. There are smoky potions and there are milky potions. And so this is not related to what type of potion there are. This is related to what the appearance the potion has. So like, again, looking at our discovery list here, you'll see that we know effervescent, sky blue, magenta, clear, orange, fizzy, and brown. We haven't seen milky or smoky. So smoky and milky potions have extra effects in addition to whatever type of potion they are. So a smoky potion has a chance of producing a djinn, a genie, and if the potion is blessed, there's a decent chance that that potion might give you a wish. So if you have like a stack, let's say smoky potions are object detection, which is very common, and you end up with a big stack of smoky potions, it might be worthwhile to use a potion of holy water and bless them all and then quaff them to try and get a wish. It's not an enormous chance, but there's no real disadvantage to doing this. It's not dangerous like quaffing from fountains. So definitely worth doing. Now, milky potions just have a negative, which is there is a chance that they contain a hostile ghost, which will paralyze you. So that can definitely be a danger. Also, if either of these special effects happen, you don't get whatever the effect of the potion is. So instead of being healed by the potion, a ghost comes out and you get paralyzed with fear for a few turns. So just keep that in mind, that the milky potions can be dangerous and the smoky potions can be potentially very, very good. Give me 1 second. So, yeah, that's potions. I mean, there's other potions which may have effects that are important, but I think when if I'm playing to just win the game with a Valkyrie, I'm just keeping my eyes out for full healing, maybe extra healing, and gain level. And then the other potions are less important and more likely to dilute them and turn them into holy water. All right, so continuing here, we have a purple F up here. Let's take a quick look. It's just a violet fungus, so not too important. I think that's a peaceful cat there. Let's kill a violet fungus there, and then we're going to try and kill this nymph from range, so we're reducing the chances that this nymph is going to steal our stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and quiver these 11 plus 0 darts. So again, that's Shift Q, and then we're going to ready capital Y. This says 11 plus 0 darts at the ready. We're going to do F for fire and to the right, and the dart hits the mountain nymph. The range is going to be, it's based on your strength, so our range is pretty decent throwing things as a Valkyrie, but it might be less if you're playing a weaker character. So we're just going to keep throwing things at the mountain nymph. The nymphs will sometimes stop and pick up the things that you're throwing, so that will even make them a little bit slower, and yes, we can kill this nymph. So we go over here, and then, oh, it's interesting, there's a milky potion. So that makes me less sure that previous potion I called object detection actually is object detection, because now it might be the milky potion instead. And I think I diluted it, so I don't know. So if you want to change what you name something in your discovery list, you can do that as well. So again, that's Shift C for call, and then D for the type of an object on discoveries list. So I'm going to D, and then I'm just going to call H magenta, obj, detect, question mark. Because we don't really know. I think we found that on a nymph, but we only found one of them. And now we found a milky potion too. So I'm going to call capital C, call O. I'm going to call Z, milky. We'll call it milky object, question mark. So we don't know which one is object detection, but we think one of them might be. And if we find another nymph with one or the other, then we can kind of confirm one way or the other. All right, so we're going to go pick up these. Oh, there's a looking glass too. So nymphs will often have looking glasses, and which have some effects. You can use them to reflect gaze attacks back at the attackers. It doesn't protect you from gaze attacks, but it can be used sort of offensively against things with gaze attacks. But the most useful thing about looking glasses is you can use them, apply them at nymphs who have approached you and are in melee range, and the nymph will look at the looking glass and steal the looking glass instead of one of your other more useful items. I'm not going to take it with us, I don't think. Well, I guess we pick it up, but generally I don't carry them around. And we have a floating eye here. So again, I'm just going to capital P, put on my towel to blind herself, and now we can safely hit this floating eye, kill it without being paralyzed by it. I guess we can eat this corpse, even though we already have telepathy, just for some nutrition. So underscore down period. We're going to go to the downstairs and go deeper in the dungeon here. It does feel like there should be more rooms up in this area. Maybe I'll search this wall here just to see. Let's go up here and I'm just going to check, see if there's a secret door in this wall. Looks like not. And we'll continue down. All right, we're at the oracle level. There's actually 2 fountains here, so let's go ahead and we'll dilute some more potions. And there's a fire ant, so fire ant can be dangerous when you don't have fire resistance, but now we have a ring of fire resistance, so this should not be a problem at all. So we're going to go ahead and just kill that. You're on fire, the fire doesn't feel hot. So that's that message there is confirming that we do indeed have fire resistance. So we're going to go ahead and attack this thing. It's not doing that much damage to us because we're not actually being burned by it. Kill the fire ant. And fire ants have a chance of giving you fire resistance. It's a 20% chance, so it's not that high. But now I don't remember if we can tell that we get fire resistance. I don't actually know if you get this message. You feel a momentary chill if you already have extrinsic fire resistance. So I'm actually going to shift remove the ring of fire resistance before we eat this fire ant, just to make sure we can positively identify if we get the intrinsic. Tastes okay. You finish eating the fire ant corpse, you feel a momentary chill. So we got the intrinsic fire resistance, which is very useful. We can actually mark that off here. And Andrea, thank you so much. Andrea confirms that you do get the momentary chill message, regardless if you have extrinsic protection or not. It's only poison and speed that are different. Okay. I think poison, you still get a message that just says you feel healthier, or you feel more healthy, or something like that. But so we can go ahead and put our ring away. We don't need it anymore now that we have the intrinsic fire resistance. So let's go ahead and head back down to these fountains, and we're going to dip some more potions here. Especially healthy. That's what it is. Yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and dip this milky potion and the blindness and the paralysis. I think all those can be diluted. All right, so first we're going to dip the object detection, or we don't know, it's milky. And then we'll dip the blindness, which is capital L. And then we're going to dip the paralysis, which is Y. All right, and the fountain dries up. And so those three are now potions of water. So we're going to put them into the bag. And take a look at our scrolls here. So we can actually create, we have some unlabeled scrolls here, but we can actually create more unlabeled scrolls by dipping them in the fountains. So things which are not very useful, right? So like create monsters, not terribly useful. Stinking cloud is not very useful. So these three scrolls here, we can go ahead and dip in the fountains and create more paper. So we'll dip scroll of create monster, and it's a blessed scroll of create monster. It fades, then the fountain dries up. But just to point out here, it maintains the blessed status. So it's a way to create blessed or cursed scroll unlabeled scrolls. If you have scrolls that you don't care about, you can dip them in water and they maintain their blessed status. And so you can combine that with a uncursed magic marker and create cursed or blessed scrolls, whatever you need. Put those scrolls away just so they don't get destroyed. And we will continue on down. So again, I recommend fast travel whenever you can. So underscore greater than period. Maybe yellow light here. So we could just go to capital P, put on our towel. And then when it explodes, you seem unaffected by it, so we don't get blinded. Just remove our towel again. We could have also just let it explode and apply our unicorn horn as well. We're going to go down to the next level. Okay, there's a vault here. We could dig around for the vault. Try and find the vault. So unfortunately, a lot of this level is doesn't look like it's explored. So it'd be easier if there was less kind of area. I'm sort of searching to see if we can find. There's a door. Oh, a trap door opens up under you. You fall down a shaft. So we're in dungeon level 6, and now we're on dungeon level 8. So a shaft is something that will drop you down multiple floors. Now, dungeon level 8 and below is, you should know that more powerful traps, including polymorph traps, will start to appear on these levels. So that can actually be a problem if you don't have magic resistance. This dark A here is a giant beetle who has a pretty strong bite. It shouldn't be an issue at this point in the game with a -6 AC, but if you find them earlier on, you do want to watch out for their bite. They're very slow. Yeah, but their bite does 3d6 damage, so that is that's no joke. And then there's a 33% chance they give you poison resistance, so we'll fight this thing. It won't be an issue at this point in the game. It does drop a corpse here, so let's go ahead and eat it. So we'll eat it. So eek, it must have been poisonous. We drop down to strength of 16. Tastes okay. You finish eating it. No further message. So we didn't get poison resistance. We damaged our strength. But because this is 3.6.6, we can go in and apply our unicorn horn a couple times. Nothing seems to happen. And then we get back up to our strength of 18.02. And we can go ahead and use this fountain here to dilute some potions and scrolls. So take out the stinking cloud here. And we're going to dip this golden potion first, I think. And then we'll dip the cursed stinking cloud. You'll see it turns into a cursed unlabeled scroll, which could be very useful. And then we'll dip the scroll of stinking cloud, and the fountain dries up. So we can put away our scroll and potion just so they're safe, and we'll go back up to the previous level. So you see, like, we know where the upstairs is. So that's why, you know, we poked our head down and we didn't go any further, but we did actually, when we found the downstairs, we peeked down and went back up. So we know how to get back to those stairs, which is always nice. Yeah, Zen Burning mentions that a trapdoor or a shaft can be very dangerous. They lost their good run with the pet dragon because they dropped 3 shafts in a row, was suddenly on dungeon level 19, yeah, and got out-leveled. Despite having life saving, yeah, it can be very dangerous. And teleport traps can also be dangerous. I have a chest here, so we're going to go ahead and loot that. So I think we talked about looting before, but it's L for loot and Y to loot it, and it turns out to be locked. So I don't even know if I talked about this, but we found an unlocking tool here, this skeleton key. I'm actually going to adjust this to K because that's where I normally keep my key. So I'm going to do adjust J to K. So that's a locked chest, so we can apply K, period. There's a locked chest here, unlock it. Y for yes, you succeed in unlocking the chest. So now we can loot it. Take something out, all types. All right, so it's an amulet, a scroll, a potion of invisibility, a wand of light, and then a worthless piece of yellow glass. All right, so I'm going to put those away. I'm actually going to do A, apply, B, my bag, and then Shift X here. And that's an easy way just to get to everything you've recently picked up. And like all of this, except for the looking glass, I guess, can be put in my bag safely. Just never put unidentified wands or other bags in your bag of holding. Yeah, Xerxia is going to point out that there's another command. So there are bad things that can happen to you. They're going to be trap boxes or trap doors. Chests can be trapped pretty badly. So there is a extended command, which is untrap like this. And you can spend a few times untrapping chests. I think this is, I might have talked about this in the first episode, I don't remember. But early on, untrapping chests a couple times before you open them is probably worthwhile, particularly if your hit points are low. And if you have inventory, things in your open inventory that could be destroyed. So there could be a fire trap, there could be a shock trap. Those things could destroy your potions, your scrolls, your wands, your rings. So I think early on, untrapping makes a lot of sense. Probably makes less, it probably doesn't matter as much once you have a bag and you put things away and your hit points are high enough that you can survive the effects of the trap. Let's go back up and we will continue to explore this. I guess I will see if we can find let's see if we can find this vault. So let's go to these downstairs here, start our search here. We just got another message there. You hear someone counting money. So we know there's a vault here. I'm just wondering if there's another secret door. Because it seems like there should be more down here. Be nice to kind of reduce the number of places that the vault could be before we start digging around for it. Looks like we have a cat here. Take a look. It is a large cat. So it's in, you know, you should be aware that large cats are dangerous. They do 2d4 damage. They're fast. So they have a 15 speed, which is more than your base speed. They have a base level of 6. And so large cats can be dangerous. They're not, not terribly dangerous for a level 9 Valkyrie with -6 AC. We could also tame it, potentially. I don't actually have like a treat, but I do have a food ration, which might work. But I'm just going to fight it. And no big deal. All right, so we could dig around. Let me just double check. We have 6 food rations left. It's going to take some time to dig. But let's dig a shaft in this direction here. So I'm going to apply my bag. I'm going to take out a tool, my pickaxe. And I'm going to adjust that pickaxe. I'm actually going to adjust X to P, because I like my pickaxe on P. I'm going to apply P in this direction. And I have auto dig on. I think that must be the default. So that means I can just push in the right direction and it will dig. So you're looking at, like, we're at 9531, 9534, 9536. So it's taken a couple turns every time we dig. Our constitution went up, so that's good. Oh yeah, Xerxia, that is correct. There is a poison dart, poison needle trap you can get on chests, which is potentially a source of permadeath, right? Or insta-death. That is true. All right, so we did find some gold here. It's not the vault, but we did find some gold just by mining around. So without object detection, it just might be pretty difficult here. The other thing you can do, we do have telepathy. So let's put our towel on. And you don't see anything. There's a floating eye up here. But sometimes you'll see like a creature that's just sort of like hanging out in a place you haven't explored. So that might mean that the creature spawned inside the vault. One way to find a vault. But we're just going to dig this way and see if we get lucky. It's got to be a 2x2 area plus the walls. So it's really a 4x4 area that you're searching for. So it kind of limits the number of places it could be. Oh, and it looks like we found something. Yep, we did find the vault. So here it is. It's a 2x2, 645 gold, 545 gold, 271 gold, 183 gold. So found like 1,600 gold. Put that into our bag here. We have almost 4,000 gold, which could come into handy, particularly if we find a temple. After you dig, just make sure. See, right now we are wielding the pickaxe as a weapon in hand. Just make sure you W wield your Excalibur after you dig. All right, so I did a numpad 5 and pushed to the left. We're getting hungry. So that's sort of the price you pay for digging around. You sure waste time. So we're going to eat another food ration. And we're going to continue down deeper into the dungeon. You notice there's 2 upstairs here. One of these is Sokoban, which we already completed. So down we go. Dungeon level 7. And we didn't, this is one we've not fully explored yet. So we use the numpad 5 to kind of search it. So that door is locked. We can apply our key in that direction to unlock it. It's quieter than kicking it, so you won't wake up things that are sleeping. There's a few things here, so let's check them out. 9 rocks, 29 gold, and a blindfold, and a potion of water. Oh. And there's a fountain. Okay. So do we have any scrolls or potions we want to dilute here? Yeah, there's a potion of invisibility we can dilute. I think that's it. We don't know what this scroll of NR9 is, so let's dip capital H. Dip capital H. and create some more water and put these away. Don't need the blindfold, but we will put away these coins. So there's a B, I, $. Just put the gold away so it doesn't get stolen by a leprechaun or otherwise lost. This is just rocks, right? Yeah. Rocks often mean like a rock trap, falling rock trap. Which is not very dangerous once you have a helmet and are higher level. All right. Do an N10S here. Nothing. Now, I don't think I did this before, but once you have telepathy, every time you get to a new level, you should be putting your blindfold on. And that just lets you kind of scope it out and see what dangers there might be. So now, we know there's a floating eye over here. So, gotta be careful about running around blindly. I guess there's nothing there. Okay, so here's another. This is a brainless creature, but shocking sphere. So it will explode and deal shocking damage to you. Uh, 46 shocking damage, which is, decent damage. And we do not have shock resistance, right? So we would just take that damage. We can definitely take the damage. It's not going to kill us. And 3.7, they made the sphere's area of effect damage destroy items in your inventory, which is very, very dangerous. But in 3.6, it's really not that big a deal. So we took 9 points of damage from it. There's another fountain, but I don't think we have anything we need to dip right now, so we'll head on. There should be another room over here, I think, but I've searched a bunch and haven't found anything, so I think we've basically explored this level. Ooh, okay. The Elven King turns into a giant ant. All right, so here's a dangerous creature. This is a chameleon. So chameleons, in fact, I should probably put this as a new list here of mid-game dangers. Some of these are also mid-game dangers, like the Leocrata really is also a mid-game danger, but so I'm going to put this here as let's do mid-game dangers and talk about a chameleon. Excalidrans can be dangerous still, particularly if you're not poison resistant. But sorry, chameleon. Variable. So why is a chameleon so dangerous? Because they can take the form of anything. So right now it's just a giant ant, which is not very strong, but it could equally turn itself into a Lich, which is a very powerful creature that could cast spells on us, which we're not resistant to. It could turn itself into a Titan, I believe. It could turn itself into pretty much anything. So it's actually one of the dangers which it's difficult to prepare for. At the time when you first start running into chameleons, where we're at dungeon level 7, XP level 9, it can turn into things which you'll be utterly unprepared to deal with. So the only thing I can say is if you see something which is turning into other things, and its current form is something that you can kill, you should rush it and kill it as quickly as possible. Okay, and there it goes. So immediately it turns into a Lich. So I guess we have to talk about Liches now. Liches are really dangerous. There are a few different types of Liches. And fortunately, this is the weakest of the liches. So capital L is Lich, is always a Lich. But there are a few different flavors of Lich. So L is a regular Lich, base level 11. They do 1d10 cold damage. It's actually not going to do any damage to us because we're cold resistant. And they do cast spells. So spells include healing yourself, hastening yourself, stunning you, turning invisible, draining your strength, destroying your armor, which is really annoying, cursing your items, which is pretty annoying, and aggravating monsters. So this is the, a bunch of annoying stuff, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But then let's talk about the later levels. So Demi-Lich, base level 14, 3d4 cold. And they can cast Summon Nasties. So Summon Nasties is a spell that will summon a number of hostile nasties. So nasties are like the worst creatures in the game. So really, really powerful creatures can be summoned by a Demi-Lich or worse. It looks like regular brown Liches don't summon nasties, but that makes Demi-Lich extremely dangerous. The fact that they might summon nasties. And then you have Master Liches and you have Arch Liches. And when you get to Master Liches and Arch Liches, you're really in danger level here. So base level 17, touch 3d6 cold, but that's not what's dangerous. They start to cast spells, including the Touch of Death, when they're purple L's. So a Chameleon appearing and turning into a Master Lich may teleport to you and cast a Touch of Death on you. If you're not magic resistance, you might just die. And that's happened to me before. So this is definitely something that happens. But this Lich here is not the worst. I think it may destroy our armor, which would be a shame, but at least it's not like we have Dragon Scale Mail. It's going to destroy our cloak before it destroys our Elven Mithril, at least. I'm looking here. Is it Covetous? Or do they not get Covetous until later? I think they might all be. Do brown Liches teleport back to stairs? Can't see. Regenerates HP quickly. Basic L's don't warp. Thank you. Okay. So Liches have a behavior. Liches above brown L's have a behavior where if you damage them, they will teleport themselves to the stairs. When they get to the stairs, they'll regenerate health quickly. And then they may actually run down or up the stairs and you have to follow them to the next level. So that could be a really annoying tactic that they have. So we could attack this Lich, or we could potentially run from it and just wait for the Chameleon to turn into something less dangerous. I think we probably could kill a normal Lich with what we currently have, and we might just get some stuff cursed and maybe lose some armor. But I'm actually going to back up from this thing, and when we get a little further away, I'm going to put on capital P, put on my towel, and we're going to keep our eye on it. All right, and there it goes. Turns into a water moccasin. All right, so a water moccasin again is like It's got some danger. It could potentially kill us with poison, but it's not a Lich. So, and then it turns into a quantum mechanic. So let's go kill it. Quantum mechanic we haven't talked about before, so they're not terribly dangerous, but they do have an attack that will force teleport you somewhere randomly on the level. So like, obviously that could be dangerous, but we can kill a quantum mechanic, and we do. I remove the towel, and then you see here a brown corpse. You see here a chameleon corpse. So don't eat a chameleon corpse. That will actually polymorph you. And if you don't have polymorph control, you don't want to self-polymorph. And actually, this will also polymorph your pets if they eat them. So if you have like a white dragon pet, and it eats the chameleon corpse, it might transform itself, polymorph into something less useful. So another reason why they're annoying. We're gonna go down to the next level. Get to the next level. Let's go and put our towel on. Okay, so we've identified something here. See that there's a white @ sign and 2 brown M's. So that means that this is a shop. So there's a shopkeeper, and then there's some mimics in the store. There's also a hobbit here. That's probably peaceful. They tend to be peaceful. Let's go and remove that towel, and let's head over to that shop and just see if there's anything of use there. So I'm going to numpad 5, travel when I can here. It looks like that is a peaceful hobbit. I'm putting that gold away, just in case we run into a leprechaun or something, and we'll keep going. Numpad 5, travel. And this looks like a jewelry shop. All right, it asks us to leave our pickaxe outside. So again, we'll apply our bag. I put in F tool, and we'll put away our P pickaxe. Then we can step in, and it is a jeweler. So you'll see that they have a bunch of rings, and they also have some gems. Expensive rings are also pretty useful. So, and it's the same cost. So like a base cost 300 ring could definitely be useful. So looking at our price ID chart here with a charisma of 9, a buy price of 400 or 533 would be a ring that's pretty useful. So we'll keep our eyes open for that. That's brown glass, we know. There's some amulets we haven't ID'd yet, which could be powerful. So there's a 400 ring. So I'm just going to call it, so C, capital C, F, period. Call it bronze 300, just to keep that in mind. We know it's one of those rings that might be powerful. There's the first mimic. We'd be worried about mimics later, or like earlier in the game, but I'm not too worried about it now. 6 rocks, they're selling them for 42 Zorkments. It seems pretty, it's a high price for buying rocks. All right, none of the other rings are very useful. So we can go ahead and leave. Put my towel on again. Still nothing else of interest here. And now we can continue exploring. You may decide to kind of skip levels if there's nothing of interest at this point in the game. So like we found the downstairs. We know there could be stuff on the ground still that's useful. All right. Thanks for hanging out, Grinning Gecko. Good night. So it's a statue of Paralisk. All right. So that's one thing that will happen with statues. They may come to life. Paralisk has a gaze attack that does fire damage to you. It can also destroy potions and scrolls. I think we may have talked about this before. We actually have intrinsic fire resistance. That Still will not protect your inventory, but we have everything that will burn or boil. All potions and scrolls are in our bag, so we should be safe against this. You can also just put your towel on, which will make you completely immune to great gaze attacks and make the Paralisk completely benign. It didn't drop a corpse. They do provide, I think, fire resistance and maybe even poison resistance, so definitely worth eating. I think this floor, level teleport trap. So from level 8 to, you shudder for a moment. So fortunately, we did not teleport. So I'm going to move on to the next level here. And again, we're going to put on our towel. And there's a D. Take a look at that. It's just a jackal. There's a carrot here. Potion of healing, 2 food rations, and a large box. All right, so we can go ahead and do the untrap here. No traps. You have to do a few times. I don't know exactly what the I guess we could look it up. Let's see here. Untrap. All right, chests and large boxes have a 10% chance of being protected by a container trap. Okay, there's the chance of finding the trap is 10 divided by 31 minus experience level. So we're experience level 9, so it's a little less than a 50% chance, like at 1 out of 2 chance of finding a trap every time you search. Okay. So yeah, you could make your own decision about how many times you want to untrap. It is locked, so we'll apply a key, unlock it, and loot again. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff here. An apple, a scroll. I'm actually not going to pick up the spell book because we're not casting spells. I would recommend picking up spells early if you haven't been to Minetown yet, because you might need to sell the spell books to get enough gold to buy something like a magic lamp. I guess I'm not going to pick up the wand of locking either. I don't think we really need it. I'll just put away these scrolls and potions here. And did I already, let's see, put my towel on? Yeah, I already checked this out. There's just a jackal here. A bunch of stuff up here, scroll, a pear. So we'll take that. A tattered cape, that's interesting. And a blindfold. So tattered cape is going to be one of the magical capes. It might be cursed, but let's give it a try. We do have holy water to uncurse things. So take off the mummy wrapping. I'm going to wear the tattered cape. Okay, so it didn't give me any message. So that could be one of a few things. It could be a cape of invisibility, because we already have invisibility, so it wouldn't change anything. It could be... It could be magic resistance. It could be an elven cloak. Actually, no. Elven cloaks have a special description, so it's not an elven cloak. So it's magic resistance, invisibility. I don't think it's displacement. I think you'd still get a message. We can't take it off, so it was +0. If it's magic resistance, it'd be really good. If it's invisibility, it's not that useful, because you already have permanent invisibility. It might be worthwhile to wear, just in case it is magic resistance. There's no easy way to identify it, unfortunately. Well, actually, magic resistance has a different base cost than these other cloaks. So I think we could oh no, cloaks invisibility and magic resistance have the same base cost. So you still wouldn't be able to tell which of these two it is without identifying. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to tell if it's which one it is. We could just wear it. I mean, our AC won't be as good, but we will be invisible, which is also a plus. So let's wear it, and then if it's magic resistance, it might save us from like a polymorph trap or something. Unfortunately, it makes it a little bit harder to see where we are, where this highlighted space here. Okay, door is locked. Apply K. This direction will unlock it. All right, so there was a booby-trapped door. It explodes, and we're stunned. But we can go ahead and apply our unicorn horn to get rid of the stun. And we just took a little bit of damage there. So let's go in here. So there's a staircase down, and there's a chest. I'm actually going to pick this chest up, and move it over here so it's not on top of the stairs. And then let's go ahead and we'll untrap. Let's see. Untrap it. Don't find anything, so we'll loot it. It's locked. Apply our key. Unlock it. We'll loot it again. And it's empty. All right, so let's go ahead and finish exploring this level quick. So when we're scoping out these levels, we're looking for a few things. Looking for potential sources of wishes. Looking for temples. Or looking for shops. And those are things you can usually identify just through telepathy. All right, another booby trap door. Use our unicorn horn again, and we'll move on. All right, so there's another nymph. We could leave it alone. We're stealthy. I'm actually kind of surprised it wasn't woken up by the exploding doors, but I guess they were far enough away. There's that jackal. Kill it. She can eat it. Just to save a little bit of nutrition. I think we go down to the next level. There could be another room here, I suppose. But yeah, let's go to the next level. All right, dungeon level 10. Let's put our towel on. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Another large box. Throw a couple untraps at it. We do find a trap. We'll try and disarm it. Sure. We disarm it. Okay. I don't know what kind of trap it was, but loot it. There's a parchment spell book. We're going to leave that there. Locked door. Oh. See if there's a secret passage here. And there is. Oh, there's the downstairs, so we can check that out. All right, and there's a fountain. Let's see. We have potion of healing. We can dilute. It looks like we have this potion here is not stacking with these. So this potion is probably either another potion of holy water or a potion of unholy water, which would be useful. That's a really good question, Zemburning. So Zemburning asks, what's the benefit of peeking downstairs immediately and then going back up again? There are two reasons. The most important one is if you end up falling through a trap door and you find yourself in trouble, you'll know where the upstairs are. So it'll be quicker for you to get back to the upstairs and escape if you need to. The second reason is the monsters that are spawned at whatever your XP level is when you enter the level. So if you're, about to go from XP level 9 to XP level 10 or something, and you peek down, you'll spawn less dangerous creatures in general. All right, so I'm putting away these potions. I'll keep exploring. Here we have a gravestone, headstone. Read, prepare to meet me in heaven. Okay. You can actually dig with your pickaxe. You can dig down, dig graves out. But I think I've never really done much with it, and I think it gives you an alignment penalty if you're not chaotic. I'm actually not sure. I think the rewards are not great. There might be some items or something. There's a newt. Eat that. So I'm just sort of like walking along the wall and hitting search a couple times. There I find a secret door. So this is a dark room. You're going to find dark rooms more and more the deeper you go. So I'm going to apply my lamp. That will let me sort of scope out this room without having to go all the way through it. The more like squares you walk in a room, the more likely it is you're going to trigger a trap. So I figure using a lamp is going to save you that trouble. You don't have to walk all the way to the corners. You can just see that there's nothing of interest there and move on without risking that you're going to hit a trap. There's another shocking sphere here. I'm not too worried about. Did 7 points of damage. So I think let's go ahead to the next level here. Go down and put my towel on. Nothing showing up yet. Put away these coins and the scrolls and potions. All these can be put into our bag of holding. And we'll start searching this floor here. Okay, so here is a V, lowercase v. I think we talked about different... we talked about a storm vortex, which does shock damage passively, which is really dangerous. This is an ice vortex, so we have cold resistance, so this is actually not very dangerous at all. Yeah, so we can just kill that. You notice it said you feel mildly chilly, so just telling you that's not very dangerous. Ooh, okay. All right, a couple things to talk about here. You receive a faint telepathic message from the Norn. Your help is urgently needed at the Shrine of Destiny. look for and then something transporter. You couldn't quite make out that last message. So actually two things here. One is this is a big room. And secondly is there is the portal to the quest somewhere in this room. The two things don't always coincide. In fact, it's somewhat uncommon for both to happen in the same place. But so the big room is it's a special room. It occurs somewhere in the dungeon. Actually, just look up exactly. I can add that to our little map here. All right, so big room. 40% chance of the big room occurring somewhere between level 10 and 12 of the Dungeons of Doom. Not generated in every game. Okay. So let me add that here. So big room. Big room is 40% chance. And it's going to be somewhere 10 through 12. And just in the main branch. So this is not a branch. This is just a room that's added. So, and then the portal, quest portal, is always guaranteed. It's guaranteed to appear somewhere between 11 and 16. So those two things kind of overlap. So I'm going to put that, actually bring this stuff down here. Wait, that didn't work. Okay, bring that down. Okay, so then we need some more of this. This is the quest portal. And that's gonna lead to its own branch. But that is gonna be somewhere between 11 and 16. But we just randomly, these two things happen to coincide. We had a big room, and it happened to be on the same level as the quest portal. But that's not always guaranteed. So big room is very dangerous. There's a large number of creatures that are generated in it. There's a few different types of big room. So this one is a big rectangle. It has dark areas, like a dark room, and then it's got light areas. Yeah, I'd love to make this drawing available for everyone. And I think I can probably just share the URL, and then people can have their own copy. But I'll figure that out. I'm you know, worst comes to worst, I can just create like a image out of it. Yeah, so, and then tactically, it's really dangerous because there's nowhere for you to go where you're fighting things one at a time. You're going to be surrounded no matter where you go. There's some ways to deal with that. But taking a look around here, and this is a sergeant, which is kind of interesting, actually. They can be very strong fighters. They also might have a very powerful item, which is a bugle. Unironically, in 3.6, that's a very powerful item. So we would like to get a bugle. We also see a Leocrata up here, You've seen before how dangerous they can be. Over here we have a cockatrice. So cockatrices can turn you to stone with their touch. We do have a lizard corpse, so that makes them a little bit less dangerous. We have a jaguar, which is a pretty powerful melee creature, fighter. I think probably take a jaguar, but combined it with other things that could be dangerous. Flaming sphere is not very dangerous because we have fire resistance. The succubus, I think this is the first succubus or incubus we've seen. So it's the one place where the gender of your character actually comes to play. There's like some, this game is it just assumes everyone is hetero, sexual. Like everyone just likes the opposite sex for some reason. But if you're a female, then the incubuses will try to seduce you, and if you're male, then the succubuses will try to seduce you. If they do, you'll start to take off your armor, potentially, which can be very dangerous. But if it's the same sex, then they're just going to attack you normally, and they're not that dangerous. See, this is a lamp. We don't know if that's I don't know if we know if that's an oil lamp or not. The Okada we talked about. I'm just looking around here. There is a Zan, which is a really annoying creature. It's hard to hit, and it will injure your leg, which will can make you burdened. Quivering blob can paralyze you. There's a lot of things which are sort of dangerous. I don't know if I'd put any of these on the mid-game danger list. I guess cockatrices are always dangerous because they can just, if you're not careful, they can kill you. The Leocratus probably still dangerous even with our AC and hit points as it is. And I'm not really sure about the rest of this. Just the fact that they can surround us makes them dangerous. So I could just run away, and that might actually be what I would do in a normal game. Would be just run away. But I do want to show you one strategy you can use here to make this a little bit safer. So let me see if we can kill this sergeant quickly. So I hit it, it drinks a potion of invisibility, and I can't see it. I'm assuming it's still in that same location, so I hit it again. You hear nearby a zap. The bolt of lightning hits you. So there's something here that has a bolt of lightning. I think it's actually the sergeant has a wand of lightning, and it blinds me. So I took quite a bit of damage from that wand of lightning. I'm blind now, so I can use my telepathy to look around here. And there's not really anything else I've seen with telepathy that's concerning me that much. This is, I think, a pit viper, the dark blue S. So that's a poisonous snake. We could potentially get poison resistance from that. We could get poison resistance from this giant beetle as well. I think the things I'm worried about most are the fact that this sergeant has a wand, although I think I can kill it in another swing or two, and this Leocrata is worrying me. So let me see if I can kill the sergeant, grab the wand, and then before that Leocrata gets to us. And I do kill it. So I'm going to step to the left here. So I pick up a ring, I pick up a wand, and there's several more objects, and I want to look. So I'm going to take a look at what's here. Unfortunately, there's a flail, a knife, etc., but there's no bugle here. That's really what I was looking for. Because that would be one way to sort of handle this mass of creatures. A bugle is one of a few things that are considered scare tools. So, and they let you scare things away pretty easily. So that would have really helped. But instead, I'm going to step back on the stairs here. And I'm going to take out of my bag a scroll. And we have a blessed scroll of earth here. So I'm going to take that out. I'm actually going to use my unicorn horn here. And yes, Zen Burning points out that there are 2 dogs here and here. So potentially tame one of them to sort of help us out with the situation. But I'm going to read the Blessed Scroll of Earth. So Blessed Scroll of Earth is like a Scroll of Earth, except it will drop a boulder in every space around you except for the one you're on. It's actually ideal for the situation, because it's actually going to create a little boulder fort here. So we're protected by anything that doesn't have a ranged attack. And we can guarantee that we will only have to fight things one at a time, more or less. So just looking in here, there's this brass wand. We actually know that this brass wand is lightning. So let's go ahead and call that while we remember. So capital C-O-Y. I'm going to call this lightning. And so we're going to, I think we'll push a boulder just out like this, and we'll come back here. So now there's only one space here where creatures can come into. So we should not be surrounded. We could still get attacked by range. I think there was a group of green elves over here. They were the green @ signs. They will often have bows, so they'll come over here and start peppering us with arrows straight through these boulders, which could be a problem. But at least we only have to fight one thing at a time. And there's the Leocrata. So here, I'm a little bit worried. In fact, I'm thinking I might just zap the lightning at it. We just picked up this wand of lightning. It does quite a bit of damage. So let's go ahead and zap this wand of lightning at the Leocrata. As we hit it, it misses, it misses, it misses. Maybe we can kill it now with our Excalibur. We hit it, it hits, misses, hits, down to 44 HP, and then we kill it. Excellent. I think they are poisonous. I don't think they give you poison resistance, but let's take a look. They don't convey any resistances. So let me put my towel on for a minute here. So next, probably you have to deal with the Jaguar, maybe the Zan. Yeah, here are 4 these elves here that may have ranged weapons. The Hill Orcs might also have some ranged weapons. But we'll wait for a minute here. There's a Jaguar. I'm less concerned about the Jaguar. Yeah, and we can kill it in a couple hits. I can actually eat that too. So there's a flaming sphere. We're immune to that. The flaming sphere explodes. You seem unaffected by it. Next up is this Zan. It is missed. It is hit. So things are firing ranged weapons at us and hitting themselves. We hit the Zan. We hit it. The Zan scratches your right boot, so it's going to start to damage our leg here. We do kill the Zan, though. There's a dagger here. Don't really care. I saw another Zan over there, too. Orc Mummy. There's another Zan. We hit it. It scratches your left boot. A splash of venom misses you. So that's that Pit Viper, which was that dark blue S. Kill Zan. Okay, so here's another thing that does quite a bit of damage here. This is a giant zombie. I mean, I'm not as worried about a giant zombie than I would be about the Leocrata. Yeah, they do 2d8, 2d8 damage. So that's not insignificant. You have to worry about that. So 2d8 minus 4. Yes, still do quite a bit of damage. I think we'll try and fight this thing, but we can always escape up the stairs here. And we destroy it in the first swing, so that was actually, we must have rolled really well on that damage there. Our longsword does do d12 against large creatures like the giant zombie. All right, so we kill a Zan. This must be, I'm guessing this is a were-rat, but let's take a look. No, just a giant rat. Not too worried about that. Okay, so Warhorse. Again, I don't know if I would put this on the mid-game dangers, but I might put this on the early game dangers. Because you can run into a Warhorse. You can run into a Warhorse in like Sokoban, and they can really cause you a lot of trouble. So they're base level 7. They have 2 attacks, kick d10, bite d4. Doesn't look that bad, but their speed is 24, so they're moving twice as fast as a normal speed character. So they can really deal quite a bit of damage. So a Warhorse is something you have to worry about. I think we can take it. Hit it. It actually ran away. All right, here comes a Cobra. Sorry, I thought that was a Pit Viper, but it's actually a Cobra. Another poisonous snake, though. See if you can kill it. Hit it. It bites. Hit it. Miss it. Finally kill it. I don't think it dropped a corpse. They do convey poison resistance at 40%, but I don't think it did drop a corpse. And now we have Cockatrice in melee. So that's the most dangerous thing. So just double checking here, we do have a lizard corpse. So if we start to slow down, we're going to want to eat this lizard corpse. We do not have gloves, so there's additional precautions we're going to have to take if we kill this thing and it drops a corpse. We want to kill it first. We hit it. It's missed. Just watch your HP here. All right, kill the Cockatrice. Actually doesn't drop a corpse, so we don't have to worry about that. The important thing to keep in mind is if you're blindfolded or blinded, you're going to feel around with your hands as you're walking along what objects are around. And if you don't have gloves on and there's a Cockatrice corpse and you're blinded, you're going to feel that Cockatrice corpse with your bare hands and you're going to touch it and turn to stone instantly. So it's very dangerous. It's a little dog. Probably not worth taming. Just going to kill that. Elven arrows. So they're firing. The elves are on this side of the rocks and they're firing through the rocks at us. So, and they're doing a little bit of damage to us. Dust Vortex engulfs us. Kill that. We're blinded again. This actually gives us a chance to see what's going on here. Elves are all over here. There's another dark S here. Garter snakes are nothing to worry about. This is a longworm up here. The W with the tildes. The tildes are its tail. Longworms are pretty tough. I don't usually have too much trouble with them. It always bite D4. Why does it only do bite D4? It's kind of sad, actually. It's supposed to be this gigantic thing, and they only do D4 damage. Seems like almost like an oversight. It's supposed to be like from Dune. Here's the Warhorse coming back. All right, so we kill the Warhorse. Still getting peppered by arrows from these elves, unfortunately. What kind of dog is this? Just a little dog, so not too worried about it. I think the kobold is throwing darts at us too. All right, there's a cobra. The bite was poisoned. We didn't lose any strength. I think we took additional damage though from it. Let's see if we can't kill this. We were able to kill it. I'm gonna check this pile here. Neither of the cobras dropped corpses. We can't eat them. We're down to 17 HP now. So I think we leave and go heal up. So I'm going to go back up. And let me put my towel on here. I don't see anything. So we're going to explore this level while we heal up. All right, we need to eat too. So I'm going to eat the fruits and vegetables first. Oh, that was an interesting interaction there, actually. So we ate some rotten food. We got blinded. Everything suddenly goes dark. And then we ate a carrot, and it says you can see again. So carrots actually restore your vision. Not something you probably use strategically, but it's kind of an interesting interaction. All right, untrap. Untrap. Loot. Apply our key, and then we'll loot again. Yeah, another scroll of enchant armor is nice. And then some sort of unknown potion, some sort of unknown ring. Apply B in, capital X, and put away at least the scrolls and potions. And let's keep searching. We're still at only 24 HP, so not ready to go back into the big room yet. $19 gold there. Okay, so you have an elf lord here. Elf lords and like elf kings they're not pushovers. Weapon 2d4, weapon 2d4. So two attacks. This I think this damage is in addition to whatever the weapon damage is, so I can do quite a bit of damage. Let's throw a dagger at it, or dart rather. All right, so it approaches us. Let's see if we can hit it. All right, so we're down to 34. All right, we were able to kill it. So it has a faded pall. A faded pall is always an elvish cloak. Elvish cloaks give you stealth. As a Valkyrie, we start with stealth, so that's not terribly useful for us. There's also an elven leather helm, which is a nice type of helm. They generally they're light. They don't get corroded as easily as your metal helms. I'm not too interested in this. And there's elven shield, which we're not going to replace our small shield with right now. Hungry again, so let's go ahead and eat. We'll eat one of these 3 food rations. Another dark room, so apply our AL, apply our lamp. There's an acid blob, I'm just going to ignore it. Again, they will never attack you. They just have a passive attack. Turn my lamp off and we'll continue exploring. Still at about half health here. Another dark room, so we'll search this. Apply L. Found a dart trap. That was with Excalibur. I'll show you one thing here. If you need some missile, some missiles, like we only have 6 darts here. Say if you really want some more darts, or if you're a Taurus or something, you can actually try and untrap the dart trap. It may fail. Actually, this is a little dangerous, just because we don't have poison resistance, but you can untrap the dart trap, and if you do successfully untrap it, it will leave a stack of darts. I'm actually going to stop, because I'd be really embarrassed if we got hit by a poisonous dart and died. So there, I accidentally attacked the acid blob and got some passive damage there. I feel like there should be other rooms over in that bottom corner, but we're pretty close to healed up here. So here's a white A. It's an ice devil. You'd probably be worried about ice devils if you didn't have cold resistance, but I think we're okay. Oh, and then it's actually this turns out that this is a chameleon, which actually makes sense because ice devils they do not usually show up at this on this dungeon level. All right, so now the chameleon is a gecko, so you want to kill it quickly, and we kill it. And it dropped a tin. The tins will have different types of corpses in it. Let's go ahead and eat it. It'll take a amount of time to open. So right now it's 11:005. I will try and eat I. It's not so easy to open this tin, so it took us from 0:05 to 0:17, it's like 12 turns. You succeed in opening the tin. It smells like newts. Eat it. We know newts are safe to eat, so we can go ahead and eat that, yes. And you consume homemade newts. There's also like some other special types of preparations of tins that may cause issues. So there's like it's like a greasy, a Szechuan newts, which would make your fingers greasy, and then you start dropping your weapon. If that happens, you can always apply your towel to wipe off your hands. Let's go back to these downstairs. I think we're ready to continue fighting that. You hear a slurping sound. You hear a slurping sound. All right, so that that sound hint means there's a gelatinous cube somewhere on this level. Gelatinous cubes are interesting. They will eat items, so it's likely it's right over here, eating the elf's items there. They also have a paralyze attack, which is can be dangerous, particularly in combination with other creatures. But they also give you intrinsics like poison resistance and shock resistance. So there it is. It's a light blue bee. Not too concerned about it. I mean, it will paralyze us. If that warhorse was nearby, I certainly would be worried that the gelatinous cube would paralyze us and the warhorse would hit us quite a bit. But I think we can kill this. So we'll try and kill it. And we do. And you see it's got the splint mail and the elven spear, which it ate up and carried with it. So we will go and eat this gelatinous cube corpse because it has a couple intrinsics it could give us. So it gives you a bad case of stomach acids. We take a little damage here. Finish eating it, no additional message, so no intrinsic. This is a good tip here, not to eat tins in a shop, because if you accidentally drop your weapon or your rings because of a greasy tin, you will automatically sell. You will actually, or just give those items to the shopkeeper. All right, we're going to go down again to the big room and see if we can't finish clearing it out. So we get stuff like kind of firing ranged weapons at us. Let's put our towel on again, just double check here. So there's a kobold right here we can kill. Sort of thinking we might start to poke her head out a little bit because we're just getting picked apart by missile weapons. We killed a large kobold, and then an elf comes in. It's a woodland elf. All right, so someone threw a potion of sleeping at us, but fortunately we have sleep resistance. All right, there's a garter snake, hill orc. I'll remove this towel again. The shocking sphere explodes. Oh, so we took like, I don't know, 15 points of damage there. Nothing terribly interesting here. I'm going to poke my head out here. That was a rope golem. Rope golems will actually grab you, which can be dangerous. So let's go back in here. We'll let things follow us. There comes a woodland elf. I can hit it. The woodland elf put on a pair of riding boots. So riding boots, could be elven boots. It's likely to be elven boots. All right, there's a giant beetle. We killed it. I think we want to eat this giant beetle corpse here. So we dropped down to 16 strength here. Tastes okay. You finish it. You feel healthy. And there's that message we were looking for. Excellent. So we have that poison resistance we wanted. You can actually check that off as well. All right, so we have filled most of the things off on this list except for reflection and, well, magic resistance is a question mark here. We don't know what this cloak is we're wearing yet. We still need reflection though. All right, we have a rope golem to fight, but maybe we go back upstairs here and we'll just apply that unicorn horn and get ourselves back up to our maximum strength here. And go down and we'll fight this rope golem. Wow, it actually did a decent amount of damage there. We destroyed it. Garter snake. Hill orc. Dwarf zombie. Put on our towel. Yeah, we pretty much cleaned this area out. There's still a succubus over there. And that longworm. All right, so we can kill these things. There's some more things here which we did not see because they're brainless. So there's a dwarf zombie and a violet fungus. Blue glass. There's another zombie. This is a freezing sphere, I believe. Yeah, so they do cold damage, which we're immune to. Just double check that we don't have any potions in our open inventory that it could destroy. All right, grab these potions and we will actually put them into our bag of holding. Here's a lamp. Now, I don't know, because we didn't go to... There was no Minetown, right? So I don't think we actually identified our oil versus... So we have a brass lantern, and now we have a lamp. We don't know if it's magic or... It's probably oil, but we're not sure which one it is. We actually call it, so capital C-O... We'll call capital M, call it lamp 1. So if we find another lamp and it's not called lamp 1, we'll know that it's potentially a magic lamp. Let's go kill this longworm. Very sad how quickly it goes down too. It's supposed to be this enormous thing. It has a worm tooth. You can actually turn that worm tooth into a crysknife. It's not something we need to do. There's a teleportation trap. There's downstairs. So we can poke our head down there. And back up. This is an iron piercer. No, glass piercer. So they get more powerful. But oh, welcome to experience level 10. Put that scroll away. Oh, step into a level teleport trap. Momentarily blinded by a flash of light. And then we get teleported into a shop. All the way back on dungeon level 2. Kind of forgot this shop was here, to be honest. And there's a vault here somewhere. So we can actually price ID that lamp while we're here. And we know now that this tattered cape is not magic resistance because the level teleport affected us. So we can call that, I think we can call that invisibility. Well, let's actually drop it. We can price ID it as well. Um, 30. Yeah, so 30 should be 60. So 30 should be 60, which is going to be a cloak of invisibility or a cloak of magic resistance. So this is invisibility. I think we actually can sell it, to be honest, because we have permanent invisibility. It's just 1 AC. Yeah, I don't know if like -6 AC is better, minus invisibility. I'll sell it. And we're going to call this invisibility. And we can drop the drop tools. I'm going to drop this lamp. 5 gold. So now we can call that oil. No, it's not magic. Maple wand, an egg. $107. I think that's another 80. Actually, 60 or 80. All right, so I'm actually going to stop here. Let me put my or wear my mummy wrapping. So we actually leave this shop. But yeah, I think we got made some good progress here off of our sort of mid-game list here. We survived. So I can mark that off too. I think we're still in the mid-game, really. But we've gotten everything on this list here, except for reflection and magic resistance, which were both very important. But I think we've made some good strides here toward what we need to really get into the late game. I think mid game is up until you get to the castle, which is another special level, which we'll arrive at. I think once you get to the castle, past the castle, I think that's late game. But so that will be next time. I think we'll push on and try and get to the castle next time. And so it'll sort of be like mid-late game will be where we'll start, and we'll try and get to the late game next Wednesday. But thanks a lot for hanging out, and hey, Baldrick. Yeah, which overexplained did you do? Which roguelike? Yeah, thanks a lot, Zen Burning, for hanging out, and I'm glad you're finding these useful. Yeah, so next time we'll have to go back up a bunch because we got level teleported all the way back down to dungeon level 2. But at least we identified this cloak. We know it's not magic resistance. You know, and we'll be able to go back up pretty quickly. And we'll just keep going, see if we can get up to the castle and keep exploring.